Hi, good morning. Very nice to have you here. It's nice to be here together. I'm going to walk you through modern trends in dog nutrition. So, what's really driving the industry today? Because this has a big influence on all of us. It has a big influence on pet food companies like PetBuddy Group. It has a big influence on our distributors, and it has a big influence on you, retailers, and veterinarians. So this is a discussion. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what's going on, and we have a question and answer session. It would be nice to hear from you as well, because it's always a learning curve for all of us. All right. So cat and dog population in Europe. They estimate around 127 million cats in Europe. We know that this number is not 100% precise because we have a few markets like Serbia, Greece, Cyprus, Malta, where the registration, the official registration of the cats and also dogs is not always performed correctly. So it's probably safe to say that there's a lot more households that have cats out there. We have 109 million dogs, and we have a very different situation in Europe with the segmentation between dog countries and cat countries. So we have Russia, for example, Italy, these are Germany, these are cat countries where the cat population is a lot higher. We have other markets where dogs are still leading the households. Around 91 million households in Europe have at least one pet. So what is the size of the pet food industry in Europe? Last year it was around 24 billion US dollars. So it's a massive industry. Usually the current annual growth rate is set at 4% growth every year, year on year. And let's say for 3 years. But this year, just recently, they came out with a conservative number of a 3.15% growth. And this is linked mainly to the geopolitical situation right now. So we have the tariff war right now, which will influence the pet food business. And there's a lot of uncertainty. Also, the different wars, inflation. So this has led the experts to lower that number. However, I have to say, in 25 years of my experience in the pet food industry, pet food is one of the most resilient sectors. And I think that you know this as well. We've seen countries go into default, like Greece, for example. Pet food actually increased that year. Inflation, yes, it does pose a problem in terms of spending power. But I firmly believe that when you work as partners, so it's the pet food companies that work in partnerships with their distributors, with the veterinarians, with the pet shops, together we can find strategies to sustain the sales, sustain what we're doing, because what we're doing is not just feeding our pets. I mean, it's not just sales, we're feeding our pets. So I'm pretty sure that number is going to grow. We're going to see that around June. I think there's going to be a higher growth rate. In terms of European segmentation, so Europe can be divided between mainly dry dog and wet cat. These are the main drivers in the market. 25% of sales is in dry dog and 25% in wet cat. Now, cat treats are growing. This last year was 2023. Cat treats were at 3%. Now they're at 5%. The estimated growth for this year is around 8%. So it is a segment that we need to pay attention to. It is on the rise. Dog treats, they're always growing, and this year they will grow around 6%. And the wet dog is what is surprising us, because we know that traditionally dogs, we feed them dry. However, they do, and we'll see this a little later in the training that we'll do later on nutrition, on dog nutrition, they do need extra hydration. So the wet food, the dog wet food is actually growing. Now, we all have heard this. I think we've been hearing this for the past 20 years. Humanization is really influencing the pet food market. And it's true, because what happens in the human food industry ends up crossing over to the pet food industry, usually with a year delay, 2-year delay. But what we see there will eventually come there to the pet food industry. Now, we have two different situations. Dogs are considered family members. They're almost considered as our children. We see them, even if we have big dogs, they're still our babies. And the drivers behind what nutrition we choose is linked really to this. Where our cats, instead, they're seen as our, lovable little assholes. Sorry for the word, but it's true because they're standoffish and aloof and don't touch me, love me with your eyes, but we still love them anyways. So for them, the drivers are strictly more, let's say, into the nutritional, where the dog, it's more of a care like we would do for our babies. So like I was saying before, what happens in the human food industry crosses over eventually. And today what we're seeing in the human food industry is a higher demand for better nutrition, because we have had in the past 40 years food that is not food, additives put into our potato chips, or the highly processed foods that we find on our shelves. And this does in some way influence our health in the long run. So the human food industry is starting to come out, and it's been like this for the past, I would say, 10 years, 15 years, gluten-free, grain-free, holistic, very natural. And this is coming to the pet food, and we've seen this in the past 10 years. Also, the pet food purchase is a very particular kind of purchase, and you know this very well. It's based on trust, because we're dealing with our baby. It's trust. You have to find somebody that can guide you, that knows more, that they identify you as the keeper of the knowledge, and you can help my baby, my dog, my cat be healthy. So this goes through the veterinarians and the pet shops. So really, you are the key ambassadors for nutrition for our pets. Now, just a small, this is just to show the evolution of pet food. So we go from 40,000 years ago, when dogs started becoming domesticated. They would eat the scrapes from the carcasses of whatever the hunters were able to get. All the way to ancient Rome. This is a reproduction of a bowl of milk with dry bread, and this was usually what they would eat. All the way to 1868, I think, was Spratt's dog cakes. This is the first industrial product, high in wheat, almost no protein. Then we have the Ken L. Ration Company that came out with, I would say, the prehistorical version of a first extruded kibble. This company later was purchased by General Mills, and then the rest is history. Then on the right side, you see where we are today. We have a variety of extruded kibble, dry kibble, extruded, oven baked, economy segment, premium, ultra premium, super premium, functional, all the different declinations. All the way to the wet food, highly processed, minimally processed, natural, fillets, pâté, mousse, whatever, vegetables, fruit, everything inside. This is where we are today. And then to the top, I've chosen two of the biggest examples of humanization in pet food. Ice cream for dogs. This is actually a big trend in the US, and it has been for 5 or 6 years now, and it has made its way to Europe. And I know has also arrived in Serbia as well. So you're starting to see ice cream for dogs. Now it's lactose free, it's a protein meal, but this is really an example of humanization at its best. And on the other side, you have your little pastry cookies. These are actually coated with liver spray. So it's not chocolate, it's a liver paste, and the little colorful candies you see are it's just protein and coloring. So what is driving the market today? Well, I would say the biggest trend today, and we know this, natural. We want natural ingredients and gentle processing. So I always get frustrated when I hear people talk about natural ingredients, because cyanide is natural, urine is natural, arsenic is natural and found in nature. But if we put that in pet food, it doesn't make it any better. So I think that what they're looking for, what the pet parents are looking for, are high quality and high biological value of, let's say, the raw ingredients. But the focus, this means no additives, no artificial colorings, and we'll see a label in the next slide of these artificial flavorings that can be found in pet food. But I think that the attention needs to be on the processing, because when you highly process, and this is something you can see in your kitchen every day. So if you cook something on a very high fire heat, you're going to lose all of those nutrients. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them will go away in the cooking process. So I think that the focus in the future will be gentle processing, minimally processed foods. And many companies are doing this right now, and they're really putting that out there as one of their unique selling points. So, second trend, clean and short label. Because the shorter the label, the higher the quality. And this is also true for human food. If you go and look at your tuna fish can and it's only tuna and olive oil, it's good. It's healthy. Now, if you start seeing 5, 6 lines, then something's off. It's highly processed and has a lot of artificial additives inside. So here I put an example of our Buddy. Buddy has a very short list, and it's right in the front. So you can just see it immediately, what's in there. We have some another brand, which I'm not going to say the name, but I'm pretty sure everybody has identified it. It's a little longer. Here we have a brand from the US, and that's definitely not a short list. And if you see, you'll see there's a red 40, yellow 5. Those are artificial colorings and have been linked to a lot of health issues out there, also in the human food. And here we have instead a cookie brand in the US with a shorter ingredient list. Number 3, functional nutrition. This has been going on for a while, but it's getting more extreme. So it's food that has some natural additives, supplements that go into the food that actually help. They have a function. It could be to help the hip and joint, so your glucosamine, chondroitin, for example, sensitive digestion. That could be the use of particular proteins like lamb, pork, venison, for example, but also herbs like chamomile or valeriana, also hemp and kale. These are new things that are going into the pet food, have a lot of benefits. This has actually influenced the industry a lot, because from the food, functional foods, we actually created a whole new trend of functional treats, functional supplements. And this influences all of us, because we have to stay ahead of our game, but also you have to find new space in your shops, in your clinics. You have to really stay on top of that. So it's really going crazy, and but it's interesting because these have a lot of different functions. You have the prevention, so let's say more veterinarian kind, but then you also have the natural prevention, yes, in a slightly lighter way, a little bit like homeopathy or naturopathy in humans. We have this trend. This has been going on for a while. 1998, Barf came out with their raw diet, but it's been going with, let's say, ups and downs. Today, we see also the fresh, steamed cooked. So you can buy your packages of ingredients, and you can steam cook them in your kitchen and feed them to your dog, and you have the impression that you're giving him the best of the best. There's a lot of alternative formats as well, like air dried treats and freeze dried treats. Now, these are amazing. These are amazing products. It's an amazing technology behind it, but they still, at the moment, come with some logistical issues, and this impacts the prices on the shelves. So the companies are looking for ways to make sure that this stays more competitive. And this is my favorite, the chicken allergy or intolerance. So this is really a pain in the side because we see, and you see this every day, my dog's allergic to chicken. He can't have anything that has chicken inside. He's scratching, he's throwing up, having diarrhea, his skin is inflamed, and it's chicken. I know it is. Now, this is really impacting the business, all of us. We're all in this boat together. For the pet food companies, it's getting harder and harder to source proteins that can go on the shelf. Chicken is highly available. It's a cheaper protein, but it has a high biological value. It's lean, it's highly digestible. It's not an enemy. However, today it is. So it's really impacting us, but it's also impacting you because you have your customers come in, your pet parents, and no chicken. And they look at the labels, and it's really hard to explain to them also when they see chicken fat. How do you explain to them that chicken fat does not cause allergies? Because allergies are caused by a histamine reaction that can only come from a protein. So it's impossible. Maybe the veterinarians, you have more power to convince them because you have the science behind you, but it's really, really hard. Now, I put in this slide here. So the chicken allergy, the perception versus reality. So I have a friend, he's a veterinarian, and he gave me these numbers. These are global numbers. So only 0.2% of the canine population suffer from food allergies. So it's a very small number. And the symptoms are, as we saw before, itching, gastrointestinal issues. It can be ear infections. There's many different ways. Weight loss, skin and coat problems. And among the dogs with food intolerances, chicken is only 15% of those cases, which means 0.03%. So really, really small. However, the perception is 8 dogs out of 10 are intolerant or allergic to chicken. Am I wrong? Do you have the same problem? Okay. So unfortunately, these symptoms that come with the chicken allergy can be also related to a number of other ailments. It can be diseases, but it can also be other things. And unfortunately, when the pet parents come to the vets, not always are these dogs tested, mainly because the pet parents don't want to spend the extra money for the exams because, I mean, they can be costly. So in the end, it's just a question mark, but it really is impacting us. Number 6, I wonder how many of you have had a question, is this sustainable? Does it come from sustainable protein sourcing? Is the packaging eco-friendly? Is it recyclable? With a raise of hands, show me how many have had this issue. Maybe Serbia, not so much, but in Netherlands and Sweden, it's crazy. If you are not eco-friendly and sustainable, you're out of the market. So the pet food companies have to come up with these little labels, and they have to find ways to source their salmon in a sustainable way. And there's a lot of crazy misconceptions about sourcing protein and the food industry in general. So there's a lot of horror stories, but I would really love to see a lot more education in that sense, because it's not as gray as a lot of people say. But this is a trend that's coming up, and it will come here as well. What's next? So these were the major ones that I see today and that are still influencing all of us. We have a new protein on the block, maybe, and that is the insect protein. We've heard a lot about this because the European Union has just allowed this for human food. So like I said before, it's only a matter of time before it goes into the pet food, and actually has already arrived because a few brands are doing that. Now, I'm not going to give my personal opinion on this, but I can give you the pros. So insect protein, they contain a lot of essential amino acids. They have a lot of biological value. It's an excellent source of your omega-3s, vitamins, minerals. It's hypoallergenic, mainly because it's not a common protein. So it's, of course, it's hypoallergenic. They say it's sustainable and has a low impact on the environment. Now, here I will express my opinion. I don't think that we have enough data to be able to state that, because once this becomes massive, I really want to see what the impact on the ecosystem will be when we start taking out all of the black soldier flies and the mealworms. What's going to happen? We don't know. We don't have those numbers yet. So what are the cons? Well, I would think the consumer perception. So I think we're all a little squeamish about the idea of having insects in our pasta, in our bread. And I think it's probably the same also for our pet parents. The supply chain is still very limited right now because it comes with a lot of costs. You have to transform parts of your company, get the machinery. Sourcing is still not regulated, and availability is still not optimal. So there are a lot of challenges before this becomes a big trend. But I do think that we will have to face this in the near future. So we need to brace ourselves for what's coming. So why are we going through this? Because I want to stress the fact that this impacts, like I said in the beginning, all of us. So what does this mean for you, but also for the brands? This means that we need to have more attention to the assortment. So as a pet food brand, I have to stay on top of my game and see what the trends are and make sure that I'm giving the best out there and following those major trends, but in a qualitative way. For you, it means new space in your shop. It's a headache. It's always a headache. Space is always an issue. So, oh no, there's a new trend and it's so big, I have to find space where I'm going to put things, you know? So, and also for the vet clinics, because now you have, you offer food in your clinics. So also there, you're going to have to stay on top of that and select what is the best for our pets in those trends. But also the storytelling, because pet food is based on trust, like I said, and storytelling is so important. Not making up a story, telling a true story about nutrition and why this is good for your pet. And this is something that pet food companies need to do hand in hand with their partners. So we need to do it together, and we need to stand by each other and work on how we go to our pet parents. That's why education and training is so important. And I know that you do this on a daily basis. I'm pretty sure that every day you're looking into something and staying on top of trends and going back to books and courses and things, because this is the business we're in. So it really does impact all of us. So just to recap, we are not just feeding our pets. Today, the parents are more informed. Sometimes they're misinformed. They're more emotionally invested because our pets are our babies, our family members. So they're more demanding. They expect nutrition with a purpose, with quality, with formulas that reflect and mirror what they're looking for themselves. Their human level expectations. So our dog food category, but pet food in general, is a dynamic ecosystem of nutrition, wellness, sustainability, lifestyle management. It's really important that we all are on board and follow this. So that's why diversification is so important for all of us to be able to continue in this business. Now, it's a business, and when I say business, we all here to make money, of course, but for all of us, I think it's a passion. We believe in what we're doing. We are ambassadors of healthy nutrition for our pets to make them happier and healthier. And I think it's more of a it's not just a job. It's a duty. It's a duty for us that we're here, that we really help make our pets happier and healthier. And the only way to do that is through correct nutrition and everything we've seen. Stay on top of these trends, but in a smart way. So sometimes I say we don't need to give way to some of the hysteria that we see. For example, the chicken allergy. I think it would be really nice, and it's something that a lot of markets are doing. They're actually publishing the numbers that I showed you. Of course, there's more details to it, and giving that to the pet parent and say, relax. This is the reality, you know? So this can help all of us because it can be a headache sometimes. So the success for us lies in balancing all of this. So it's not an easy task, but we're resilient and we're all professionals. So I think that we're going to have a great year. And I think that 3.15% current annual growth rate is going to be a solid 4% this year as well. Thank you. So PetBuddy, and so I know this will sound funny because a lot of companies say this. They really say, "Oh, we love pets. We want to make them happy and healthier, and it's great." And yes, this company was founded because of nutritional issues with the two founders for their dogs. Their dogs had some problems and they needed a solution, and they found themselves in this sea of labels, sea of foods, and didn't know what to do. And they realized that they wanted to be a part of that also in terms of business, but they wanted to be part of giving better nutrition to dogs. So this is what we do. We build sustainable brands. We are 360 degrees around your pet from the beginning of their journey to the end. Anything that happens in the middle, anything you can need. This is our goal. So we're embracing the journey with the dog. We are active in 50 markets. We have a lot of brands. Our company has a lot of brands. We have 4 major brands. We cover dog, cat, supplements, and we have a mid-priced cat and dog range. High quality, but we position it in the mid-price because we're trying to help the pet parents that are affected by the inflation, where they have the opportunity of buying a high-quality food at a better price for this moment. We are number 1 with our cat brand Thrive. Number 1, number 2 in the market. It kind of fluctuates. In the UK, Buddy is number 1 in the Nordics. It's where it was founded. It's its homeland. And we have a lot of selected key partners we work with. Musti Yamirri. We work with Pets at Home, Pets Corner, Jollies, Dogmen. We work with a lot of these out there. And the idea and how we work is through partnership. We build relationships, and this is something that we all believe in. And it's something that has guided me in my 25 years in the pet food business, and is the relationship. We are in this together. We don't just sell product. We're feeding our pets. We're nurturing them. We're really influencing what's going to happen down the road. So we have a responsibility, and the only way to do a good job is to find the right partners, partner with them, and help them. So we're in it together, and that means also going and meeting the pet shops and how can we help tailor making all of our communication, but also the way we go to market, commercial tools to help you, category management. We give a lot of advice, and we're there in the front line, and we do it tailor-made to each market. So we don't have one size fits all because every market is different, and we want to make sure that we have a win-win-win together. It's the only way. The win for our dogs, for our cats, a win for the retailers, for the distributors, and a win for us as well. So as I said, we have a portfolio of sustainable brands. So we offer dog nutrition, dry, wet, treats, and supplements in a super premium segment. We have WAP line. This is a 100% organic, vegan, and natural care grooming products. We have high-end oil-based supplements. These were created by a PhD in lipids. So he's really a fan of lipids. He has created these unique formulas to help sustain the health of our pets. So hip and joint, teeth formula, senior, something for sport. So for dogs that are active. So we cover all of that as well. And we also have some paste. So they're oil gels to make it easier to give. We also have a mainstream supplement brand called Medipause. This is more accessible, good quality for the price ratio. We have Little Big Paw, which is our, like I said before, it's our mid-price range. So it's actually premium quality. It's steam cooked, 60% meat for cats, for dogs, and 70% for cats. Grain-free, complete and balanced in pouches, cans, multi-packs. But we positioned it strategically in the mid-price, and this was a choice that we made because we want to help the pet parents that right now are struggling to get the best quality to their pets. Then we have Thrive, which is our super premium cat. We also have some dog products, but Thrive is a cat brand. It's perceived as a cat brand. We offer a lean assortment. It's fillets, so it's complete and balanced, natural, minimally processed. but 12 SKUs. So you only have 12. You don't have 200 like many of the brands out there. We have 3 SKUs in the dry, high quality, 54% protein in line with a carnivore diet, high in fat. Those are the building blocks for our cats. And we have the freeze dry treats, 100% protein. So as you can see, we cover it all. So as I said before, we like to work together in partnerships. So we help you with the winning story. We have a winning assortment. We have great products, high quality, and a big nutritional focus. So we are all trained, and nutrition is a big part of our training. It's a big part of our job. So we make sure that everything is in line to meet the nutritional requirements of our pets, also for the treats, also for the supplements. And we deliver that story to you. And we focus on successful retailing. And this is a different kind of approach compared to a lot of companies, because a lot of companies just say, hi, here's my range, take it, sell it, bye-bye, good luck. And then they come and complain because you're not reaching targets. We don't work like that. We think that our assortments need to match your retailing needs. And you have specific retailing needs, and we are very aware of those. And that's how we structure our assortments, and that's how we work together. We also build 360-degree plans around your market, around your particular situation, with the story, with the tools and the marketing. And it's so important for us because every market is unique, and everybody deserves a particular approach, a dedicated approach. And we do a lot of trainings, distributor events, online trainings. There's a lot of education that goes out there. Now, I believe that happy dog makes happy parents, and I think that you would agree with me. And how do we keep them happy? Well, first of all, we have to make sure that when we're feeding them and then we're giving them the highest quality, and they don't come back with, my dog has diarrhea, my dog doesn't like the food, my dog is scratching, itching, and having problems, and that's a headache. So we have to make sure that we're giving them the high quality food that their pet deserves, short label, gentle processing, and high quality ingredients. We also need to offer variety. Because of humanization, today it is so important to have pate, mousse, small kibble, big kibble, functional venison, lamb, salmon, but this, but that, and etc. So we need to offer that variety. And then, like I said, we need to show, because it's based on trust, we are there with you together, 360 degrees around your pet. A lot of the questions when a pet parent comes to the store is, do you have a senior? And they're there for a puppy, because they want to know that you're going to be there and hold their hand the whole way. Now, sometimes they do divorce a brand, as they go. It can happen. But if we all work together, it's quite rare. So they want to know that you're there for everything. And this brings loyalty. And loyalty is good for the business as well. And as I said, also, we dedicate our attention to successful retailing. So we help with our ranges bring you an increase of number of shoppers. And how do we do that? Because we offer varieties. So small dog, medium dog, large dog, the varieties in flavor, the ones that want venison, the ones that want lamb, the ones that want salmon. Also flavors, textures, it's really important. Also, we help with the frequency of purchase. Because if your pet parent comes, they're going to buy one bag and you'll see them a month later. And sometimes they find their ways to other stores or to chains or online. So we have to keep them coming back to us. And how do we do that? We do that with mixed feeding. Mixed feeding is not only the best choice for our pets, it's also the best choice for our pet parents, because it helps them save. Because if you mix feed, you can actually save a little bit. Because you can optimize the feeding. But it's also good for you, because they'll come and buy their bag of dry, but then they're going to come back every week to add their cans or their treats. So you're keeping them happy and they're coming back. We also help increase the basket value, which is one of the things that I think most of the pet shops look at, is the average receipt that they have, because that gives you it's a thermometer of the success of your store. At least that's what they say. I have other indicators that I look at, but okay. So if you have dry and then you explain to them that wet food is also good for your dog because they need the extra hydration, but also you can change the variety of protein with the wet and not in the dry, because they're really freakish if you change their dry, you're actually giving a benefit for their dog, but it's also benefit for you. And how about the training treats? What about the indulgence treats? This is bonding. So it's very good for them because it's bonding, but it's good for you as well because you're increasing your units sold. Supplements. It's really good for our pets to have supplements. Why? It's the same for us. We take vitamins. It's prevention. It's better to prevent than to cure. And the health goes through the quality choices we make. So the better quality we choose, the less we have to go to the vet. And that's good. Okay. Any questions on this? No? Okay. So I'm going to bore you. I'm going to try to make it really easy. And for the vets out there, please forgive me. I know that also the retailers are up to date on nutrition. So I just like to walk through it because I like to know that we're on the same page. So first of all, what is nutrition? Nutrition is the process of taking food, taking it in, eating, and creating energy, and also getting those nutrients that we need to for all of the physiological activities in our body. And this comes from 3 macronutrients. These are the building blocks: proteins, carbs, and fat. Actually, the order should be protein, fats, and carbs. And then we have some micronutrients, that fiber, vitamins, and minerals. So having a look at these macronutrients. So we have protein. Protein is really a building block for life itself. It builds and repairs tissues. It acts together with the enzymes to help other processes. It can serve as hormones. Hormones regulate so many functions in our body. It helps form in the process of forming antibodies. So it's also our immune system development. It also helps and stores and transports molecules. For example, hemoglobin. Hemoglobin transports oxygen and things like that. We're alive and we can speak and breathe and live. So it's really one of the most important building blocks that nature gave us, followed by fat, lipids. They provide a concentrated form of energy. So it's basically stored, crystallized energy. This is one function that they have. Then this derives from the hominids in prehistoric times when food wasn't so accessible. They didn't have a refrigerator and couldn't choose what to eat every day. Sometimes they had to go weeks without. So it was really important to have that fat to access energy to continue to exist, but also it creates an isolation for us, keeps us warm. It helps regulate a lot of functions. And some of these functions are fundamental. If you think about cholesterol, 80% of our brain is made up of cholesterol. So it's really fundamental. It also helps with the vitamins. So we have, and we'll see that in the next slide. So really fundamental building block. And then we have the carbs. Carbs are fast energy sugars. They fuel the brain, the muscles. They also help regulate sugar levels, we could say, the fiber-rich carbs. They also help us spare using protein as an energy source, because this does create an adverse reaction in the body in long term, could lead to death. So it's also a form of protection nature gave us to have that fuel for us. Then in terms of micronutrients, so these help the macronutrients do their tasks. So they're like best friends and partners, and they work together. So we have fiber. Fibers have so many important functions. They support the digestive health, helps regulate blood sugar. It also helps intestinal motility. These are just a few examples. Vitamins, they basically have so many functions uses to help our body function properly. For example, vitamin K, it really supports the coagulation of the blood, for example. So we need that vitamin K. Vitamin C, anti-inflammatory, but it also helps boost the immune system, for example. Vitamin D is so important for our thyroid health, but also for the calcium, for our bone health. So vitamins are fundamental. And it's really important to get in the right quantities, but also it's important to know that we have the kinds that are soluble in fat and the ones that are soluble in water. So it's really important also when we're taking them. So how are we taking these? And then we have the minerals. There's macro minerals that we need in larger amount, and that could be, for example, calcium, magnesium, and then the trace ones that we need a little bit less, but they're fundamental. So iron, zinc, iodine, selenium, copper, etc. And okay, we've already talked about processing, and I always like to go through this slide because processing influences the macronutrients. So what really we take in. So we have some non-processed corn. Here we have access basically to most of the nutrients that nature put inside that corn. Here we have a corn on the cob. It's slightly steamed. So it's always natural, minimally processed. And then over here we have a highly processed. We can't really say that's not natural because there's corn inside. Corn is natural, but it's highly processed, and there's oil added, butter and salt, etc., and probably some preservatives. So it's not as natural as nature intended. And we'll look at this later. It's so important because it really does influence the nutritional profile of the foods we ingest. So let's talk about the evolution of dogs and the breed selection. So dogs were domesticated, like I said before, around 40,000 years ago. They descend from wolves, and they started living alongside man, doing a lot of tasks for him. And this has profoundly changed them, changed their aspect, physiology, metabolism as well, eating habits. Dogs they come from strict carnivores, but today, and we'll see this a little later, they're not strict carnivores anymore because they've developed the ability to digest other foods thanks to the companionship with man, but also the breeding. If you see here, we have a bull terrier about 90 years ago, and it's very different from the bull terrier today. We have completely changed also their olfactic system, for example, with this breeding process. The English bulldog totally changed. So we're also influencing the evolution of these pets, and not always in a good way. And here you see the boxer and the German shepherds. So we really have a big impact on our dog in general, and also on their health. So our dog carnivores. And like I said, they come and descend from wolves. So they descend from a strict carnivore profile animal. But thanks to the strong domestication, they have the ability to digest carbs. They're able to process digestion of fibers, vegetables, fruit, for example, as well. But I'm pretty sure that if you put a steak and a little bit of salad in front of a dog, he's going to go for the steak because he does prefer meat. We know that dogs, compared to cats, the palatability for them goes through the nose. So they have a very strong sense of smell, just like cats do. But for them, palatability comes from the smell. So when they smell it, then they can taste it. For cats, it's a little different. They also have a VNO organ located in their palate, and this helps them interpret the taste from the smell. So it's really important in dog food. That's why a lot of dog foods have strong smells, because they are coated. Some companies coat them with, let's say, not necessarily natural things, and other companies today usually coat them with liver fat because it enhances the smell. It also enhances palatability, and it's actually very healthy because liver has a lot of iron in it. So it's really important also when you're extruding a kibble, when you're preparing it, that you pay attention to the Maillard reaction. This is something that we see, for example, when we're cooking. So when you're cooking your steak, you have to seal all of the nutrients and the aromas in the first minute. High fire, you seal it on all four sides, and then you continue with the slow cooking for a little bit. That way you're preserving everything. And it's the same with the extrusion. So the higher the temperature, the more the kibble can get burnt, and that does influence palatability. And that's why gentle processing is a little better, and the Maillard reaction is more optimal. So this is a big question, has tortured people for years and years. And it's not just for dogs, it's also for cats. Should we feed wet food to our dogs? Yes, we should. and it's always there. It's the quality that we choose. So wet food offers extra hydration. Dogs need about 60, 80 milligrams by kilo a day in water. And they're messy drinkers, at least most of them. They just throw their face in and water goes everywhere. And it's like when they eat their vacuum cleaners. So that wet food actually delivers an 80% moisture. So that's hydration for them. It also comes with other benefits. You can give them a different protein. It's highly palatable. It's like a treat for them, even though it's an important part of their nutrition. Also, weight control is very important for dogs. So, like I said before, they're vacuum cleaners. Sometimes they just suck up the kibbles. And what happens is it goes down and they don't even feel full. So a lot of pet parents will look at them, oh, poor thing, he's still hungry. Here, take some more. So we tend to overfeed our dogs. Now, we need to avoid that because over obesity and being overweight also for us does impact our health because it can bring insulin resistance and then issues on the skeletal system. So it's really important that we all kind of stay on the healthy weight side. So in order to do that, you can use wet. Wet helps, but also a food that has good fiber. So, and we'll walk through Buddy in just a little bit. The fiber is very important because that fiber helps that sense of being full. So you can actually feed them the right amount and they're good to go. So just to recap, happy dog, happy life. They always say happy wife, happy life, but it's also happy dog, happy life because when you have issues with your dog or your cat, it can really be a hard process to go through until you find your way out of the tunnel. So we start with giving them a better nutrition, and this will help for sure prevent most issues. All right. Any questions? Very good. You are good people. I'm either very clear or you don't like me and you want me to finish really quickly. No, I'm just joking. So I'm going to walk you through a product overview now. So now we're going to go deep dive into the Buddy line. So first of all, forgive the fresh ingredients. I didn't make this. I didn't make this part. I stand by all of it. Fresh ingredients. What does that mean? So it's high quality ingredients. And this makes the difference. So the ingredients are high quality. Fresh, of course, they're fresh. But what does fresh mean? So we use natural raw materials that have high biological value. We have a grain-free food because we believe that this is the best choice for our dogs. Reduce the grains in their diet. We gentle process. So in the pet food industry in Europe, there are 2 countries that have very strict production regulations. One of these is Italy, where I live, and one is in Czech Republic. The others are good. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying that they have less requirements in terms of controls and regulations. So it's a little stricter to produce in these 2 countries. And we produce in Czech Republic. We produce with a machinery that is called gentle extrusion. So it allows for more fresh meat. Now we can have an open discussion on that because fresh meat has been a marketing trick for many years because 80% of that goes into extrusion water and bye-bye. So you're paying for something that only gives you 20% of dry matter. However, fresh meat does have benefits. And if you gentle process it, you can get more benefits. So you're losing less percentage of the let's say dry matter in the extrusion process. Safe manufacturing because it is produced in one of the strictest countries in Europe, and we do pay a lot of attention to how we impact the environment. Like I said before, the company is Swedish. So climate control is very important for us. So we do this in many ways. The way we streamline, the way we produce, the way we stock, we make sure that everything is optimized to impact as less as possible as we can the environment. Now, this is what we offer. We offer dry food. So you have your dry kibble. We have the wet food for the mixed feeding. for the benefits that we saw before. We also offer treats for training, indulgence with different textures. We have freeze-dried treats and dental chews for their help. And we also have supplements, which for some reason is not coming up on the slide, but we have supplements as well. So basically, like I said before, the story is important. Buddy is a dog brand, high quality. It's going to be with you from the beginning of your journey all the way to the end. Anything that happens in the middle, we got you. This would be the story. And it is the story. All right, let's get into product. So, Buddy Dry Puppy. So, I'm going to walk you through. I've identified which kinds of dogs should eat this and why, and we'll talk about the protein fat ratio and things, just so we're on the same page. So, in my opinion, because we have a flat and round kibble, this is it's a really nice kibble. It's good for your medium puppies, but also small is good because it has a 36% protein and you have a 19% fat. So it's a really good ratio of building blocks in that initial, 12-month phase of growth where they really need a lot of support in that process. Now, the food is rich with sweet potato. So why do we choose sweet potato? Sweet potato compared to the normal potato is actually very nutritious. And people in South America and in the U.S. know that because the Native Americans, it was one of their major pillars of their nutrition. It has a lot of fiber, so it does give you that sense of being full, so you don't overeat. And that's good today for our dogs. And for the Native Americans, it was good because they didn't have a lot of food, maybe access. So if you felt full, you weren't so miserable. It also has a lot of fiber. And this also helps the intestinal motility. It helps keep that tube going, which is important. It also comes with a lot of vitamins, vitamin A, B, C, and calcium, which is very important for our developing puppies. Now, we chose turkey and salmon as proteins, and you would probably ask why not a monoprotein? Because when you're weaning your baby, you start out with different proteins, different grains, and you try and see which ones are good and what is the reaction of your child. It's the same for dogs, but we tend to put these together because turkey has very specific benefits, and so does salmon. So turkey is highly digestible, very easily accessible for the metabolism, while salmon is really rich in your omegas, which are essential fatty acids that really help the puppy. So that's why we do it together. So if a pet parent says, hey, but what about a monoprotein? This is actually a very good product mixing them because they're getting the best from two different proteins and they really need that. And then we use peas. Now, we don't use pea fiber. We use peas, which is a whole different thing because pea fiber, you put it in, it's a very good fiber and it has the same benefits of fibers. It really regulates your sugar levels, makes you feel full, it helps intestinal motility and other things. But putting in peas is giving basically another golden ticket for our puppies because peas from the legumes is the highest in biological value for proteins, but also for vitamin C, K, and B. These are fundamental. The B complex is so important in the initial phases. Now, when we have a puppy, and just like when we have a baby, we don't just feed them. We also have to take care of other parts, other needs. A puppy needs hydration just as much as an adult. So we need to mix feed them. Of course, we need to do this at the right stage. We don't do that at the beginning. We can start around the 4th, 5th month. We can start introducing small doses of wet. They get extra protein. We can add some lamb there. If we see that they have a sensitive digestion tract, the lamb won't hurt giving it in the wet form. If they are picky eaters, because sometimes that does happen with puppies, not usually, but it does happen, then the lamb is good because it's highly palatable, or you have something else that you can add. And if you add it in the right quantities, even if it's not puppy specific, you already have a puppy specific dry. So the wet, you can play around with it. But when you have a puppy, you're also training your puppy. You want to indulge your puppy. You want to connect with your puppy. So we offer those treats, but it's important to choose the right ones because you have to make sure that you're not overloading them with fat. So my suggestion for a puppy would be to go with the duck and the ostrich because of the treats that we offer. They're the ones that have the lowest fat ratio. So these are safe for your puppy. You can indulge, train, and connect with them. And it's also good because they're crunchy and it helps with the teeth. And for that, you could start introducing the dentals, but I didn't add them here because I think that I think that the treats could be enough the first 6 months. After you can start introducing them because it's a good cleaning habit for them. For sure, you would want a probiotic as a supplement because puppies, just like children, they are very, very delicate. It just takes nothing and they can have diarrhea. And usually the pet parents will blame immediately the food, but it's just part of the growing process, weaning process. And sometimes it happens. We see it, like I said, in babies, and it's not necessarily the food we're giving them. It can be a number of things. So if we can sustain the health of their gut, their flora with probiotics, it's an extra support. And also, I can't stress this enough. They need big doses of omegas. They need their essential fatty acids. Now, you don't over give them these omegas, but they do need to be supplemented in the diet. So this would be the recipe for a healthy puppy, all in one. And you can see how this also delivers successful retailing for you because you're telling a story and it's a true story. You're giving them the trust, you're giving them the advice, you're really helping them shape the puppy and the dog they're going to have by giving them the right products. And it's also helping you because they trust you. They're going to come back. They're going to try whatever you have and you can offer. That's why also putting these on the shelf in a proper way is the best way to tell a story. And you're going to get also your increase of basket value because they're going to buy all of that because they trust you. And it's not that you're doing something wrong. You're actually helping them have a good health. So it's a win-win-win. Win for the pet parent, for you, for ProFeed, and for us. Okay, Buddy Tasty Duck Bites. This is ideal for small breeds. Why? Because high protein content and the small kibble makes it ideal for our small dogs. Duck has high biological value. It's very hypoallergenic. So small dogs tend to have a lot of issues with their skin and coat. They're very sensitive. They're hard breeds to work with, to have. So it's really important to give them the right protein. And duck, in our opinion, is one of the best. Also here we have the sweet potato and the peas, so I'm not going to go through the benefits again, but we're giving them those extra elements to sustain their health all around. Now, also for our small pups, so they have a very high metabolism and they're voracious eaters. And I'm thinking about a Chihuahua because those things are mean, and I'm very angry. So you have to really, when you're feeding them, they can't eat once a day, and they have to eat several times a day. They're more similar to cats in that sense, and that's why wet could really help them. They're also very, very picky. Very, very picky. And when they don't eat, the pet parents start having anxiety, just like a mother. My baby's not eating, and sometimes it's normal. So if you can stimulate that a little bit with some wet, highly palatable food, it's good. But it's also good for extra hydration. And for them, I would go with the duck and ostrich treats. They have a low fat ratio. They're highly palatable, and these are great treats for them. Indulgence, especially because training it's not so easy, but also for training the ones that can train the small breeds. And for them, I would suggest the skin and coat supplement because of their sensitivity. They really need that extra support that you can't just get from the nutrition. You're going to need that extra. So I would throw in that supplement to help the healthy coat and skin. And then salmon oil is always good to put on the kibble. It's always an extra. All right, then we have a chicken and lamb feast. Now, for me, this is ideal for a medium and large breed. If you look at the kibble, it's a bigger kibble, so it's more in line with their masticatory system. In terms of protein, we've chosen chicken. It's very efficient, highly digestible, and lamb is more dense. It has a little bit more fat, but it also comes with a lot of iron. So it's a really good ratio. You're getting the best from both worlds, and of course, you have your sweet potato and your peas. The ratio here is 26-15. That's why I say it's ideal for a medium large dog. Large dog, I prefer a little lower, but it's not bad. This will help maintain their health, their weight, and because we know that they tend to have hip and joint issues, that's why it's important to add those hip and joint supplements. Because you can't really get enough chondroitin and glucosamine just from the food. You have to supplement it. And it's something that we should do as humans too, but they don't tell us that until we're in our 40s or 50s, and then we start having issues, and it's too late. So if we start before, then we can really live happier and healthier, just like our dogs. I would totally mix feed with them because it's giving them that, how can you say, gratification. Because medium dogs, and I'm thinking mainly about a Labrador, for example, they would eat everything. They would eat you, me, our grandparents and cousins. They would eat all day if they could. And they do tend to get quite overweight, and that is a very big health issue for them. First of all, on their hip and joints. So, giving them some wet food, reducing the dry matter, and adding a little bit, or just adding a small tip, it kind of gratifies them because they're really always hungry, poor things. So, it also helps us feel better without overfeeding them. Also for them, we can go with lamb and ostrich treats. They have a good fat ratio, so we don't overfeed them. They're highly palatable, training, indulgence, and bonding with them. You have your semi-moist and your crunchy. And for them, like I said, I would do the hip and joint supplement, really important. And I wouldn't save on the omegas. I would abund there because it's really good also for their skin and coat. They tend to be quite sensitive in that department as well. Then we have the free range duck, and I put this good for medium breeds, but they have to be active dogs. So if you have a Labrador that is lazy, I would not feed this for long periods. Now, within a whole line, it's really good to interchange the proteins. It's like for us, we don't always eat chicken every day. We need beef, we need turkey, we need fish, we need eggs, we need a little bit of variety. It's the same for our dogs. Now, if you do it within the same line, you're not going to have digestive issues. It kind of freaks out the pet owners because they freak out because dogs can have diarrhea. Oh my God. But it's actually something that you should do. But since it's so difficult, that's why I said before, use the wet. Use the wet to give them that extra variety. Now, this has a 36% protein ratio, 18% protein fat ratio. So for me, this would be good for those active dogs because if not, in the long run, if they eat this all the time, it's not necessarily, but in my opinion, it's too loaded for a non-active dog. He could tend to get overweight, and then that would bring other issues, and we don't want that. So for me, this would be your sporting food. And for them, hip and joint. If they're active, hip and joint, we got to make sure that they stay healthy in that department. And the lamb, this has a 26-15% ratio. The kibble is round, and typically it would be ideal for a medium and large dog. Lamb is one of the preferred proteins out there. It's very nutrient dense meat. I think for medium dogs it's good because it does bring a lot of nutrients, and it really does help. It has other substances inside that help sustain the muscular and skeletal system. And also here, you have the sweet potato and then the peas. I'm not going to repeat that. Mix feed these dogs. Give them some extra variety of proteins, hip and joint. You have your dental chews for their teeth health. It's really important to follow and cover all of their needs. Venison is a very lean meat. It's a particular kind of protein you find out there. So if you do have a sensitive digestion, a dog with a sensitive digestion, it could be a great alternative to the salmon or the lamb that usually are chosen. Venison, because they don't find it a lot, they don't eat it a lot. It could actually help cure some of the sensitivities in digestion. But it also, like I said, it's very loaded in iron, so it's a very nice protein. Here, the kibble is smaller, so I put this for all breeds. And in terms of protein ratio, we're 25-14. Ideally, this is really nice for a large dog as well. It will also help that growth stage not overload with proteins their system. Um, and here, the mixed feeding, my personal opinion would be to add some salmon if you use this for a large dog. You have treats that you can do for the indulgence, for the training, the dentals. And in terms of supplements, you can do skin and coat, hip and joint. You can even take them together because it's not something that will harm. It just depends what kind of dog you're looking at. If it's a large dog, a medium dog, what kind of dog, how much does he weigh, but this is really a good alternative to the lamb and also to the salmon. A lot of because the line doesn't have a segmentation, let's say per se on the bag, small, medium, large. It's really important to know the size of the kibble because your pet parent will come back. So if you have a smaller dog that's sensitive and he thinks that salmon the kibble is too big, and they don't want to crush it, then go with the venison. And then our salmon. So this has a 27-12% ratio, very ideal for a large and medium dog for many reasons. The omegas, because it keeps them healthy, lighter, but still nurtured. And here the kibble is bigger. And like I said before, if you have a small dog and he has a sensitive digestion or a skin and coat problem, and he needs a hypoallergenic protein, you can go with this. But the kibble is quite large. So for the moment, the suggestion would be to crush it, and you would want to add some wet because it would make the meal easier for him to eat. And then, of course, you have your supplements and salmon oil. Now let's have a look at the buddy treats. So we actually have a lot of them. So we have our crispy duck, lamb, crunch, and grass-fed ostrich. These are semi-moist and crunchy, highly palatable. If you look at this is the ingredient list, so it's a short label, high quality. We also offer duck burgers, dental chews with duck, venison training snacks. So they're a little small. You can put them in your pocket. I have two border collies, and I used to do that with liver hearts because I wasn't working in PetBuddy at the time. So I would go and get the chicken hearts and cook them and cut them to pieces and put them in my pocket. It was very So here it's very easy. You just pull them out and train and have them do their exercise. There's also beef. This is also a nice protein that dogs tend to love. You have your deer burgers as well. There's really a lot. You also have the training snacks and beef snacks in this different kind of packaging. I'm not going to go through all of the nutritional aspects, but as you can see, it's a short ingredient list, high quality ingredients, and very nice to indulge, to train, and to bond with our dog without creating health issues or overfeeding them. We also offer the freeze dry treats, which was something we saw a while ago. It's a raising trend. So it really is on the rise. It's a very particular kind of format. 100%. In this case, it's 96% fresh meat that's grain free. Very competitive in terms of pricing, and they are enriched with rosemary extract and fenugreek seeds and cranberries. These are one of those functional herbs and things we were talking about this before in the trend. They're functional, so they do come with benefits. And then, of course, we have the dental chews. These have kelp inside, and we know that kelp is anti-inflammatory and it really helps the health of the gums. Really important. These are semi-moist and very low fat. They have some curcuma, antioxidant, and they have a mint smell. and which I find amusing because that's also humanization with that mint. It kind of helps the breath because we do have problems when dogs have bad breath. We're like, ooh, get away. So it's actually really nice. Okay, do you have any questions on the treats? No? And like I said, we're going to be there from the beginning to the end of your journey. So we also make sure that with our supplements, we say a chew a day makes the vet go away. So the supplements are 100% natural. They have elements that help prevent health issues. So given to every day, it really is a big ally in prevention and helping your dog stay healthier. And it also, in case your dog is already sick and you start taking them, it helps the process, the healing process. So we offer calming. Like I said, I have 2 border collies. I have one, she suffers from anxiety because she's so smart that she just suffers and she's anxious. And I give her the calming treats. So they're highly palatable. And I give those to her just to help her calm down a little bit because she really needs some Xanax. But Xanax, you can't give it to your dog. So I give her the calming treat. We have the probiotics, and we know because this is a big trend, and it's something that is coming also to the dog food, is the attention to the microbiota, intestinal microbiota. So here we have a whole range inside of probiotics that really can support the intestine. Once your gut is healthy, your whole body is healthy because it really health goes through the gut. It's actually the first. It's the first part that forms during pregnancy is the intestines. So that's just to show how important it is. We have the skin and coat. Skin and coat, you have your omegas inside, and this really helps any kind of prevention, any kind of allergy, or also for going outside with your dog. And sometimes these small dogs get sensitive. They touch something, and there's always something. This can help because it's an extra support. You have your hip and joint. We know that what that's for. We also offer the salmon oil, and we have the teeth formula. The teeth formula really does help counteract the plaque, which is one of the biggest problems out there because we have a lot of dogs that get to their senior age, and for many reasons, they start having dental issues, and these dental issues can become really serious. So it's really important to make sure that we keep their teeth clean as well. And these chews, the reason why we're very proud of these is because it's not a pill, something that you have to hide inside a piece of ham or crush or something. They're chewables. So for them, it's a treat. But in reality, we're giving them a chewable of prevention and health. Thank you. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, I'm here.
Dobar dan, ja sam Anja Ilić-Božović, čuli ste, docent sa veterinarskog fakulteta na katedri za bolesti kopitara, mesojeda, živine i divljači. Inače, živi dokaz da logoreja jeste nasledna karakteristika. Nažalost, nasledila sam samo logoreju i loš ten, ili na sreću. Pozvala nas je Dušica da pričamo o poboljenjima donjih partija urinarnog trakta kod mačaka. I onda sam ja bila u problemu, jer ja treba kliničarima da pričam o oboljenjima donjeg urinarnog trakta, a računam da kliničari sigurno imaju mnogo više, se susreću sa tim oboljenjem nego ja. Ja sam tek svake 4. nedelje u ambulanti, ali zato imam 3 nedelje fore da čitam i da čeprkam po netu. Te sam rešila danas da vam predstavim poslednji iz 2025. Znači najsvežiji mogući guidelines od strane Internacionalnog Cat Care udruženja veterinara. Šta raditi sa oboljenjima donjeg partija urinarnog trakta. Za početak, dok sam studirala, znači u moje vreme, se to popularno zvalo FUS, odnosno Feline Urologic Syndrome. I onda su rekli, čekaj, ne može da se zove FUS, zato što nije sindrom, bez veze je, to je zapravo skup različitih simptoma, partija donjeg urinarnog trakta, i onda su odlučili da ga zovu još rogobatnije, odnosno FLUTD. Feline Lower Urinary Tract Disease. Onda su jedno vreme koristili to kao skraćenicu, pa su rekli ne može, zato što nije jedna bolest, nego je više različitih bolesti. Zvuči kao da je dijagnoza, a nije dijagnoza. Pa su odlučili da bude, znači, diseases, bolesti. I ostalo je, sklonili su feline, ostalo je LUTD. Da bi se vremenom to LUTD zapravo prebacilo u LUTS, odnosno Lower Urinary Tract Symptoms. Simptomi, znači oboljenja donjeg urinarnog trakta. Kako? Šta kažete? Slobodno glasnije. A nije sindrom, simptom. Samo je simptom. Jeste. Sad, koji su to simptomi oboljenja donjeg urinarnog trakta? To su sve urije koje vam padnu na pamet. Disurija, hematurija, periurija, polakjurija, strangurija. Sad, pošto mi malo fali predavanja u učionici i malo mi fale studenti, pa kikinuje moja profesionalna deformacija, šta je to periurija? Slobodno, ko zna? Šta je periurija? Tako je, maši, uglavnom mačke jelne piške u pesku, nego negde sa strane. Tako je. Pored simptoma baš vezano za uriniranje, bol, letargija i hiporeksija se povezuju sa oboljenjima donjeg urinarnog trakta. Još jedno pitanje, koliko često u pisanju izveštaja koristite hiporeksija? Znate šta je hiporeksija? Znate šta je anoreksija? Kako smanjeno? Tako je, smanjen unos hrane zapravo. I kažem, baš je super izraz, a u pisanju izveštaja govorimo smanjen apetit ili to manje jede. Hiporeksiju baš i ne koristimo. Sad, koji su uzroci simptoma donjeg urinarnog trakta? FITS kao najčešći, urolitijaza, infektivni uzročnici, uretralna trauma, neurogena stanja, neoplazije, anatomske abnormalnosti i ono što je zabavno i što izdvajaju, obstrukcija nije uzrok. Obstrukcija je posledica nekog od oboljenja donjeg urinarnog trakta. I sad ovi iz guidelinesa nas vraćaju na 3. godinu osnovnih integrisanih akademskih studija veterinarske medicine, odnosno na opštu kliničku dijagnostiku, napominjući koliko je važna anamneza kada su u pitanju bolesti donjeg urinarnog trakta, da mora podrobno da se uzme anamneza, odnosno istorija bolesti, i da se odradi dobar klinički pregled. Znači, adspekcija i palpacija. Procenjujemo body condition score, odnosno body weight, body mass score, stepen hidratacije životinje, pokušavamo palpiramo bešiku i pregledamo perianalnu i perinealnu regiju. Kažu da je obavezno da se uradi komplet krvna slika i biohemija, bez obzira što se ne očekuju nikakve promene ni u parametrima krvne slike, ni u parametrima biohemije kod problema sa donjim urinarnim traktom, ali ih obavezno radimo da bismo isključili probleme sa gornjim urinarnim traktom ili neke druge sistematske poremećaje. Što se tiče analize urina, isto računam da svi manje više znate kako to ide i šta se gleda, te su ovde izdvojili stvari sa kojima se često susrećemo, takozvane preanalitičke greške, odnosno više propusti preanalitički, koji se setite otprilike tek kad dobijete rezultat i onda vam se rezultat nekako ne uklapa u celu ideju šta se dešava, pa se tek onda zapitate, na primer, kada je mačka jela u odnosu na uzimanje urina, na uzorkovanje urina. Jer kažu, ako ne gladuje 12 sati, vrlo je moguće da specifična težina urina bude veća nego što je očekivano. Šta jede, naravno, odnosno da li je ishrana visoko ili nisko proteinska, da li su zastupljenije, naravno, mesni proteini ili biljni proteini, pošto sada, u hranama imamo svašta. Kada je i kako uzeti uzorak, to svakako pitate, jer za početak znate da li ste uzorkovali cisticentezom, kateterizacijom ili vlasnik doneo od kuće uzorak i znamo otprilike i kada, jer pretpostavljam isto da svi kažete vlasniku da uzorak ne sme biti stariji od sat vremena. Kako je skladišten uzorak, važno je, jer ukoliko je urin bio u frižideru, vrlo je za očekivati kristaluriju, odnosno pojavu kristala, sasvim normalna stvar. Druga stvar vezano za urin su oni takozvani tips and tricks, odnosno ukoliko na rezultatu analize urina nađete da je specifična težina ispod 1035, odnosno 1032, ali da zaokružimo na 35, trebalo bi da podrobnije proverite bubrege. Znači da koncentraciona sposobnost bubrega kod mačaka nije baš najsrećnija ukoliko nam je specifična težina ispod 1035. Znate svi da na tračicama, onim dipstick, kad je mačji urin u pitanju, ne obraćate pažnju na specifičnu težinu, na leukocite i nitrate. Cistocentezom, naravno, u redu je naći eritrocite u urinu, ali šta onda radite? Ako nađete eritrocite u urinu, morate da ostavite 24 do 48 sati mirnu mačku kod kuće i da uzmete uzorak slobodnim uzorkovanjem da bismo videli da li je onda čist uzorak od eritrocita, da bismo bili sigurni da nema krvarenja u urinarnom traktu. Što kažu proteini pažljivo? Znači, sama proteinurija nam ne znači toliko koliko nam znači odnos proteina i kreatinina. I uvek se proteini gledaju samo u odnosu protein-kreatinin. Kažu kristalurija ne overinterpretirati, znači ne preterivati sa dijagnozom kristalurije, zato što normalno se i kod zdravih mačaka javlja i struviti i kalcijum oksalati. Lipidurija, znači masne kapljice u urinu kod mačaka, sasvim regularan i okej nalaz. I još jedna interesantna stvar, ako koristite, znači ako mačku morate da sedirate da biste uzeli urin i koristite medetomidin i ksilazin, očekuje se povećana diureza, a samim tim očekuje se nešto niža specifična težina. Što se tiče imaging dijagnostike, čike i tete iz ovog iCat Care-a, prva metoda izbora imaging dijagnostike im je rentgen. I sad mene zanima, vi u svojim praksama, da li prvo mačku za koju sumnjate da ima problem sa donjim urinarnim traktom ili šaljete na rentgen? Mislim, zanima me zato što mi ne šaljemo, ali mi ne šaljemo zato što je nama rentgen baš daleko i treba da ih pošaljemo tamo i da čekamo da se to sve završi i to mnogo dugo traje i dođu nam pred kraj smene i mi se hvatamo naravno za ultrazvuk prvo. Lakše je, jeftinije je, prosto lakše ga je za odraditi, a kažu da je rentgen bolja varijanta i da sagledavate zapravo ceo urinarni i to ILL i VD projekcija. Naravno, u ultrazvuku možete neke druge stvari da vidite, ali kažem, uvek savjetuju prvo rentgen i naravno one naprednije imaging tehnike, ali to je varijanta ako imamo inkontinenciju i sumnjamo na neurogeno poreklo, pa hoćemo da vidimo šta je sa kičmom. I metoda u koju se kunu, to je cistoskopija. Isto ne znam koliko vas je u mogućnosti da radi cistoskopiju, mi ne radimo, nemamo cistoskop, iako imamo endoskop, ali generalno super stvar, uđete kamericom unutra, vidite šta ima, može da bude i dijagnostička i terapijska procedura. Da se vratimo na uzroke i da nešto malo popričamo o njima, izdvojit ćemo one najznačajnije. Prvo, FITS. Šta je FITS? Felini, idiopatski cistitis. Kažu, znači, najčešći uzrok problema sa donjim urinarnim traktom je FITS. Ne znam koliko ga vi često dijagnostikujete. Mi baš i ne toliko, a kažu najčešće. Druga stvar koja kažu, opet glupo je da se zove FITS. Zašto? Zato što kad kažete cistitis, računa se na upalu bešike, iako upala bešike postoji, problem je što navodi vlasnike na ideju da je upala bešike i da treba da se leči antibioticima. I onda su uzeli zapravo naziv iz humane medicine, odnosno bladder pain sindrom, jer to i jeste, sindrom bolne bešike. Sama patofiziologija nastanka ovog sindroma je poprilično kompleksna i problematična i stres je glavni faktor i glavni činilac sa sve povratnim spregama, takozvana Pandorina kutija, jer stres kod mačke pravi apsolutni haos sa ostatkom organizma. Što se tiče faktora rizika za FITS, dakle stres, odnosno anksiozne mačke, koje se ne osjećaju spokojno u svom okruženju, nećete verovati debele mačke, gojaznost kao broj 1 faktor rizika za sve šta god vam padne na pamet. Kad smo kod toga, morala sam da idem da kupim farmerke za danas, jer nisam mogla da obučem ove prethodne. Mislim, kad smo kod gojaznosti i faktora rizika. Kaže, mačke koje žive u malom zatvorenom okruženju, znači stančići, garnisere, mačke koje žive u garniserama nisu baš najsrećnije. Mačke koje žive u domaćinstvima gde ima više mačaka isto. I ono što je meni bilo interesantno, česta promena hrane. Kako česta promena hrane utiče na FITS, zapravo utiče na stres. Zašto je mačka u stresu? Sklonili ste joj hranu na koju je navikla i hranu koju voli, nešto novo ste joj uveli i mačka je u panici da nikada više neće moći da jede ono što je jela do sada. Dijagnoza se postavlja onako kako se omiljena varijanta postavljanja dijagnoze kod veterinara, a to je dijagnoza isključivanjem svega drugog. Znači, morate da orobite vlasnika, da prođete tonu različitih procedura da biste bili sigurni da nije ništa drugo i da onda dijagnostikujete FITS i kažete super, nije ništa, vaša mačka ima sindrom bolne bešike, bacite i uzmite drugu, pošto je prilično terapija kompleksna. Zašto je terapija kompleksna? Za početak, kažu za 2 do 7 dana prolazi ukoliko se otkloni uzročnik, ali kako ćete znati šta je uzročnik? Odnosno kompletan terapijski pristup je multimodalan. To je novi fantastični izraz, nastavite da ga upotrebljavate, znači multimodalni pristup. Šta to znači? Ako se vratimo na faktore rizika, jasno vam je šta onda sve moramo da uradimo u terapiji sa idejom da ćemo možda zalečiti taj fic. Šta isto, ovo je jako zabavna priča za one koji imaju veterinarske apoteke, pet shopove, odnosno oni koji imaju ove proizvode u ponudi. Multimodal environmental modifications, MEMO. Znači, menjamo sve u stanu i sve prilagođavamo mački, zato vam kažem, bacite, uzmite drugu, ima mačaka koliko hoćete. Znači, visok je to, da mačka može da se penje, da može da spava, da može da odmara, da može da leži na visokim pozicijama, da može, s druge strane, da ima neke skrivena mesta gde može da dremne, gde može da se skloni, da se osjeća sigurno. Zato vam kažem, ovo je super, znači, dobijate guidelines ove godine, dobijate da kažete ljudima koji vam uđu u pet shop veterinarsku apoteku, ali vi morate da kupite još 2 grebalice, zato što je to jako bitno za zdravlje vaše mačke. Jer ako uđe u fic, u ozbiljnom ste problemu. Dalje, isto jako interesantna stvar, znate, posipi, ne vole sve mačke sve posipe. Morate da izaberete posip koji mačka voli. Da li je grudvajući, ne grudvajući, mora da bude bez mirisa, zavisi koje boje, da li liči na pesak ili liči na zemlju. Znači, sve to mora da se titra maci. Onda WC-i, da li su otvoreni ili zatvoreni, da li više uživa da piški dok joj vetar prolazi kroz kosu ili da bude šćućurena i negde sakrivena. I isto, jako važna stvar, interakcija sa mačkama. Znači, da se vi igrate sa njima i da imaju one igračkice sa kojima mogu same da se igraju. Znači, stvarno je to sve terapija. Zaista piše da je to terapija. Ne lažem vas. Ako lažu mene, lažem i vas. Što se tiče one najkonzervativnije moguće terapije u svom izvornom obliku, lekovi, ono što mi znamo, kažu analgezija. Prva i osnovna stvar, obezboliti bolnu bešiku. Dalje je prednizolon, pentozan polisulfat natrijum i glukozaminoglikani. Radili su studiju, ozbiljnu, gde su imali grupu mačaka kojima su davali ove preparate uz poslastice i grupu mačaka kojima su davali samo poslastice i došli su do super zaključka i jednoj i drugoj grupi je bilo bolje. Navodno, odnosno pretpostavka je da im je bilo bolje zato što su zapravo dobijale poslastice, to ušli ste u neku interakciju, izvukli ste ih iz svog anksioznog stanja i znači generalno terapija poslastice. Nije važno šta ćete dati pride. Druga varijanta sa nesteroidnim analgeticima, opioidima, gabapentinom i pregabalinom, kažu empirijski pokazalo dobre rezultate, ali ne postoji studija koja baš to i dokazuje. I behavioralna terapija, odnosno amitriptilin i fluoksetin da bi se smanjila anksioznost i nelagoda mačke. Što se tiče hrane, ne može sama promena hrane da odradi posao, nego mora biti deo multimodalnog pristupa. Urinarne dijete, opet empirijski, pokazale se kao odlične. Naravno, vlažne dijete i povećan unos vode, da bi što češće praznili tu bešiku. S obzirom da je gojaznost jedan od faktora rizika za neku dugoročniju terapiju, preporučuje se one obezity ili weight loss ili kako god se zvale dijete za smanjenje telesne mase. I alfa-tazepin i L-triptofan ubacuju se u hrane ili ima preparati posebno izdvojeni. Zašto su dobri? Zato što bi trebalo su prekursori serotonina i trebalo bi da čine mačku srećnom, tako da bi isto trebalo da odrade posao. U svakom slučaju, obrni okreni, titranje macama bi trebalo da urodi plodom. Urolitijaza, kao jedan od uzročnika luca, kažu 10 do 23% slučajeva luca je zapravo zbog urolitijaze. O urolitijazi realno znate već svi sve. Ono što je meni bilo interesantno, ne znam da li ste već čuli da. Struviti su opet u modi, odnosno struviti vode. Kod mačaka je zabavno, kada se počelo sa dijagnostikom urolitijaza, struviti su negde zauzimali 80% ukupnih kamenčića izvučenih od mačaka. Onda smo shvatili da treba da zakišeljavamo urin kako se ne bi pravili ti struviti, onda smo preterali sa zakišeljavanjem urina i onda su nam se pojavili kalcijum oksalati, pa smo sada to sveli na neku normalu i držimo taj urin pH neutralnim, ali neutralnim u smislu to na 6,4, 6,5, tu se negde motamo sa ovim hranama, tako da sad struviti opet vode. Ono što je meni bilo zabavno, ima prijavljenih slučajeva, pa jeste sad, stvrdnutog koaguluma, znači izvadili su nešto što su mislili da je urolit, poslali na analizu i dobili su zapravo samo koagulum. I još zabavnija stvar, 2 slučaja prijavljenih mačaka sa urolitom, koji je sastavljen od antivirusnog nukleozidnog analoga GS441P24, koji se zapravo koristi u terapiranju FIP-a. I sad je interesantno pratiti dalje kako se bude povećavao broj mačaka koje su terapirane za FIP, da li će se povećavati broj ovakvih urolita. Što se tiče dijagnostike, opet kod svake urolitijaze radite krvnu sliku i biohemiju, negde pretpostavka da 35% mačaka koji imaju kalcijum oksalat imaju i hiperkalcemiju. Što se tiče analize urina, to znate i ne služi nam baš ničemu da kamen i kristali koji se nađu u urinu uopšte ne moraju da budu istog sastava. Može se desiti da imamo kamen, nemamo kristale, da imamo kristale, nemamo kamen i da kamen bude jedno, a kristali budu drugo. Isto tako to kamenje može da bude samo jedne vrste, može da bude kombinovano, može da bude mešovito. I pH urina je isto tako problematičan, jer stres i silni neki drugi faktori utiču na pH, a generalno, opet kažem, ne znam kako vi, ali mi se igramo toga, aha, dođe na maca, ima kamen, ok, uradimo pH, aha, kiseo je pH, ako je kiseo pH, onda je najverovatnije taj kamen kalcijum oksalat šta će biti. I kako se to završi? To se generalno završi tako što mi pokušamo da terapiramo struvite, pa vidimo kako to ide, ako radi super, a ako ne radi, mora da se vadi. I takođe savetuju analizu urolita, znači sve kamenje koje povadite da sve šaljete na analizu da bi se videlo šta je to zapravo. Kada pričamo opet o terapiji, različite terapije u zavisnosti od toga koji kamen je pronađen. Znate da za 2-3 nedelje bi trebalo se vide prvi efekti otapanja struvitnih kamenčića. Šta mi je zabavno? Darko se vratio sa nekog super skupa, gde je bila priča da struvitno kamenje i bakterijice zajedno prave kamen. Kad krenete da otapate struvite, bakterijice se oslobađaju i prave haos u bešici. I šta smo mi onda počeli? Kako dobijemo životinju sa struvitima, odnosno sa kamenjem, ustanovimo da su struviti, mi odmah idemo otapanje i antibiotici. Da, ali kod pasa. Kod mačaka su mnogo češće ti kamenčići sterilni i nema nikakve potrebe za antibioticima uz otapanje kamena ukoliko stvarno ne postoji infekcija mokraćne bešike. Pratimo specifičnu težinu, jer trudimo se da bude što niža specifična težina, odnosno da urin bude što razređeniji i pH pokušavamo da održimo ispod 6,4. Što se tiče kalcijum oksalata, ne možemo da ih rastopimo, hirurgija je jedino rešenje. Važno je da sredimo hiperkalcemiju u serumu. Naravno, važno je alkalinizujuće dijete, opet ne da ih rastopimo, nego da sprečimo stvaranje novih, s obzirom da očigledno ima predispoziciju za to. Vitamin B6 je super zato što bi trebalo da smanji stvaranje oksalata, zapravo koji se posle vezuju sa kalcijumom i prave haos. I u ovom slučaju pratimo da bude niska specifična težina i da pH održavamo iznad 6,5. Što se tiče infektivnih agenasa, koji mogu biti uzroci problema sa donjim urinarnim traktom, ovde pričamo o infekciji urinarne bešike, urinary tract infection, i o subkliničkoj bakteriuriji. U čemu je razlika? Znači, izvadimo urin, pošaljemo na mikrobiologiju i dobijemo bakterijsku kulturu. Subklinička bakteriurija, pošaljemo urin, dobijemo bakterijsku kulturu. Ali UTI su mačke koje su došle zato što imaju zapravo LUTS. Znači, imaju nešto od simptoma problema sa donjim urinarnim traktom, dok od subkliničke bakteriurije nemate ništa. Zapravo nalazite slučajno. Ili baš jurite pa ustanovite. Ono što je meni bilo zabavno je da infekcije urinarnog trakta kod mačaka se nalaze u manje od 3% slučajeva. I onda sam shvatila da mi jako često zapravo FIC tretiramo kao urinarnu infekciju, a zapravo je FIC, s obzirom da je najčešći, i ne bi trebalo se terapira antibioticima, a mi stavljamo životinje na antibiotike sa idejom da to jeste bakterijska infekcija. Složit ćete se, nije baš da svakoj maci koja vam uđe u ambulantu za tom problematikom šaljete urin na mikrobiološke analize. Ili šaljete, ne znam. Ne, pa dobro, hvala. To je, kažemo, isto ne šaljemo. Tako je. Naravno, kod mačaka starijih od 10 godina i one koje boluju od hronične bubrežne insuficijencije, mnogo je češće pojava urinarnih infekcija. Subklinička bakteriurija pak se javlja kod nešto većeg broja mačaka, znači starije od 6 godina, čak negde oko 6% je prevalenca. Što se tiče faktora rizika, znači mačke starije od 6 godina uglavnom ženke, persijske ili abisinske rase, mačke koje boluju od hronične bubrežne insuficijencije, mačke koje boluju od dijabetesa mellitusa, hipertiroidizma, gastrointestinalnih bolesti, mačke koje su prošle neke urološke operacije, mačke koje su kateterisane, koje imaju inkontinenciju, kod kojih se pojavljaju urolitijaza, neoplazije i kongenitalne abnormalnosti. Mislim, kažem, kad pogledate ovaj spisak, kao, ok, u redu, neka bude. Što se tiče izolovanih sojeva bakterija, mogu se izolovati u monoinfekciji. To su uglavnom stanovnici normalnog digestivnog trakta, Escherichia coli, Streptococcus vrste, Enterococcus fecalis i Staphylococcus felis. Mogu se izolovati u polimikrobnoj infekciji, ali to je uglavnom kod mačaka koji imaju neke druge komorbiditete ili imaju hroničnu bubrežnu insuficijenciju, naravno trajni kateteri. Interesantno je da Enterococcus fecalis može da se nađe samo kod polimikrobne infekcije ili kod subkliničke bakteriurije. Znači, neće se desiti da u monoinfekciji Enterococcus fecalis izazove kliničku sliku urinarne infekcije. Gljivične infekcije pak su takođe moguće, Candida i Cryptococcus vrste, kod hronične bubrežne insuficijencije, pacijenata koji dobijaju neku imunosupresivnu terapiju ili kod dugotrajne upotrebe antibiotika. I ono što je meni bilo interesantno, postoji indicije da kalici, herpes i koronavirusi mogu da izazovu faktički upalu bešike. Znači, virusna upala bešike, što je sasvim logično. Urotel, zašto bi se razlikovao od bilo kog drugog epitela, ako može respiratorni, može digestivni, zašto ne bi mogao i urinarni, ali nisu rezultati konzistentni, odnosno ne mogu se složiti sa tim da definitivno izazivaju. Kad pričamo o terapiji, kod infekcija urinarnog trakta, znači tamo gde imamo kliničku sliku, naravno radi se po antibiogramu. Pošaljemo, vidimo šta je, na što su osetljivi i sa tim idemo. Ide se sa analgeticima. Ono što je zabavno je da ima masa slučajeva gde su krenuli sa analgeticima da obezbole bešiku i gde su izlečili mačku analgeticima. Znači, bez obzira što je prisutna bakterijska infekcija urinarnog trakta, odnosno bešike, analgetici su sklonili kliničku sliku kao problem i posle toga smo imali sterilnu urinu kulturu. Ukoliko ste poslali na antibiogram, čekate rezultate, naravno lek izbora je amoksicilin. I pritom, pazite, ne amoksicilin i klavulonska, samo amoksicilin. Znači, krećete sa tim i vrlo verovatno završavate posao. Ono što je meni bilo još interesantnije je ako krenete sa amoksicilinom i dobijete sređivanje kliničke slike, a dobijete antibiogram i dobijete da je kultura rezistentna na amoksicilin, nemojte da menjate antibiotik. Znači, sredili ste kliničku sliku, nešto posla je odrađeno, završite terapiju sa amoksicilinom i pustite da vidite šta će se desiti. Mislim, to ide zajedno sa ovom pričom da će analgetici da odrade posao. Znači, pitanje je zapravo uopšte da li svaka urinarna infekcija uopšte treba da se terapira. Kod nekomplikovanih infekcija za 3 do 5 dana bi trebalo da se završi terapija, kod komplikovanih koje su naravno mnogo češće 7 do 14. Subklinička bakteriurija se ne terapira. Znači, to što ste našli bakterije nema nikakve veze, ako nema kliničke slike ne dirajte ništa, sem ukoliko nisu u pitanju pacijenti koji uporedo boluju od dijabetesa mellitusa ili imamo suspektni pielonefritis ili imamo pacijente koje spremamo za urinarnu hirurgiju. Isto zabavna stvar, fluorokvinoloni, kažu, poslednja linija odbrane. Znači, ne koristiti ih, sem ukoliko pokušavate sa ovim drugima, dobijate rezistentne kulture, tek onda. Ne znam kako kod vas, mi smo jedno vreme, kako nam uđe nešto sa urinarnom infekcijom, mi tako stavimo na enrofloksacin, zato što pobogu koncentruje se u bubre, to je to, kao završili smo posao. Znači, ne. Sad, kažemo, po poslednjem guidelinesu, nikako. Alternativne terapije, da, svakako, apsolutno. Probiotici, ekstrakt brusnice i demanoza, ne znam, meni to u startu kad sam prošla bilo kao, stvarno, ekstrakt brusnice, da, naučni dokazi, radi posao. Terapija bakteriofagama i inokulacije sa manje patogenim sojevima zvuči ultra zabavno i to se radi kod humanaca. Znači, ni svetska veterina nije stigla dotle, a mislim da mi nećemo još dugo. Naravno, pokušavamo da izazovemo povećan unos vode, s tim što, pazite, pokušavamo da izazovemo povećan unos vode, ali se ne savetuje hrana bogatija solima da to radi. Pokazalo se da nije baš najbolja varijanta. I naravno, povećanim unosom vode izazivamo učestalo pražnjenje. I nećete verovati šta još treba da uradite, da redukujete stres. Znači, obrni, okreni, kaže mačkama mora da se titra. Šta mi je još ovde bilo zabavno? Mačke koje imaju problem sa hroničnom bubrežnom insuficijencijom ne pate ništa više, odnosno bubrezi ne pate ništa više ukoliko je prisutna urinarna infekcija, što se meni nekako ubacuje u kognitivnu disonancu, jer kako je moguće da bubrezi ne pate više ako postoji neka inflamacija u organizmu, ali nauka kaže ništa. Znači, ne propadaju brže bubrezi, ne smanjuje se funkcija bubrega sa učestalošću bakterijskih infekcija. Ok, možemo da usporimo malo, dobro nam je prolazno vreme. Opstrukcija, kao još jedan od simptoma. Šta je opstrukcija? Potencijalno životno ugrožavajuća posledica bilo kog tipa bolesti donjeg urinarnog sistema. Koji je najčešći razlog urinarne opstrukcije? Kako? Najčešći razlog. Šta dovodi do opstrukcije? To sam vas čekala. Nije, nego fic. Fic, da, verujte mi, fic, što meni isto nije imalo apsolutno nik pobogu kamen zapuši, uđe, šta god. Ne, fic, naravno, uvek razmotrite urolitijazu kao mogući uzrok, ali fic je najčešći. Zašto? Zato što se prave zapravo uretralni čepovi. Od čega se prave? Od sluzi, ćelijskog detritusa, kristali mogu biti u tome, ali nisu znači kristali sami problem, nego taj upalni proces u bešici, fic kao glavni uzrok, dovodi do tih uretralnih čepova i on pravi haos i zapušava. Naravno, dijagnoza se postavlja prvo anamneza, s tim što šta je nezgodno kod anamneze? Znači, u anamnezi bi trebalo da čujemo da maca pokušava da piški, da se namešta, da se eventualno oglašava, da ne uspeva. Dešava se naravno da vlasnici brkaju ovo sa konstipacijom, odnosno obstipacijom, i to je u redu kada je maca unutra. Ako maca slučajno izlazi u dvorište da urinira, takvi pacijenti će vam doći ležeći, mislim, uginjavajući, pa ćemo onda da se čupamo i da vidimo šta je. Negde posle 24 sata od kompletne opstrukcije pojavljuju se sistemski znaci bolesti i kao što rekao, to mogu ih dovesti u stanju stupora, znači neprisutni su. Što se tiče trijaže, bitno nam je da pogledamo te neke parametre da bismo ocenili koliko je hitno, odnosno koliko je bitno brzo delovati. Naravno, procenjujemo stanje svesti, sluznice, vreme punjenja kapilara, broj otkuca i ritam. Realno ovo sve znate, zato ovako brzo prolazim kroz ovo i navodim, čisto kao podsjetnik. Znači, kvalitet pulsa, krvni pritisak, respiracija, auskultacija pluća, veličina i tenzija bešike, pregled perineuma prepucijama, ukoliko mačka dozvoljava, ako nije beskrajno bolno. Kad merite telesnu težinu kod ovih slučajeva, zbog sedacije, anestezije ili što god, obavezno uzmite u obzir to da je bešika puna i da to nije baš ta težina. Temperaturu možemo da izmerimo ako nije previše bolno, onda tek kod sedirane životinje. Šta nam je alarm od ovih stvari za brzo delovanje? Bradikardija, hipotenzija i hipotermija. Jasno vam je koja je patofiziologija iza ove bradikardije, hipotermije i hipotenzije. Znači, smanjuje se glomerularna filtracija bubrega, sve ostaje unutra, životinja ulazi u ozbiljan problem, najpre ulazi u ozbiljan problem zbog hiperkalijemije. Hiperkalijemiju dodatno pogoršava hipokalcemija koja se javlja i naravno metabolička acidoza. Uremija se detektuje znači za 24 do 48 sati ukoliko je potpuna uretralna opstrukcija. I povraćanje i anoreksija zbog uremije nikako ne doprinose dobrobiti životinje, znači ulazimo u dehidrataciju, jaču azotemiju i hipovolemiju. Hiperkalijemija i hipokalcemija dovode do ozbiljne bradikardije i aritmije. Pored hiperkalijemije i hipokalcemije, u biohemijskim nalazima možete naći i hipoalbuminemiju, kao što rekao smo azotemiju, moguće i hiponatrijemiju, hiperfosfatemiju, hiperglikemiju, i naravno povišen SDMA, jer bubrezi počinju da pate. Sad, što se tiče analize urina, s tim što to nije jasno zašto biste pobogu analizirali urin iz bešike koja je bila u opstrukciji, znači tu je uopšti haos, tu ćete naći što-šta, uključujući hematuriju, proteinuriju, glukozuriju. Naravno, variraju pH i specifična težina od zilion faktora, ne znače nam ništa. Pregled sedimenta isto, piurija, bakteriurija, cilindrurija, kristal, šta god vam padne na pamet može da se nađe u tom sedimentu. Jedina bitna stvar je da se biogram radi samo ukoliko iz anamnestičkih podataka postoji informacija da je mačka pre ove obstrukcije imala zapravo urinarnu infekciju. Što se tiče imaging dijagnostike, kažemo, oni opet forsiraju rengen kao prvu stvar, zato što su 90% kamenčića su ovi koji mogu da se vide na rengenu i kao time možete da sagledate ceo urinarni sistem, jer ultrazvuk ne dozvoljava da vidite distalne delove uretre. Kaže, znači da se identifikuje, rengenom se identifikuje uzrok kod 30 do 40% mačaka. Ultrazvukom pak s druge strane možda vidite šta ima u bešici, imali sedimenta, na šta liči, imali nekih masa, koaguluma, ili što drugo što rengenom ne biste mogli. Interesantno je savjetuju EKG da se odradi, ne znam isto koliko vam je to dostupno i koliko to često radite, da bi se ustanovili koliko je ozbiljna bradikardija, aritmija, odnosno hiperkalijemija, koliki je već haos napravila sa srčanim radom. Hiperkalijemija, to znate, razvlači zapravo EKG zapis, odnosno dobijate produženi QRS kompleks, povišen T, zubac i dobijete jednu džbrlju na kraju. Sad, deo koji meni opet bio onako, što se tiče terapije, kaže započeti odmah terapiju. Znači staviti životinju na infuziju pre nego što je očepite, jer meni to kao zašto sipamo još vode dok ne očepimo ovo što već imamo, zato što je užasno bitno i ono što je životno ugrožavajuće su ta hiperkalijemija, hipovolemija, bradikardija i znači stavljanjem na infuziju pokušavamo da sredimo dehidriranost, tu hipovolemiju, hiperkalijemiju i da povećamo renalnu perfuziju. Još jedan zabavni moment, ne znam koga sam već davila, ko mi je bio u predavonici, odnosno vežbaonici, Hartman, odnosno Ringer laktat je prava stvar, jer je pre bila varijanta ako imate hiperkalijemiju, ne ubacujete još kalijuma u životinju, idemo sa fiziološkim rastvorom da razredimo taj kalijum. Ali kliničke studije pokazuju da su ovi elektroliti, odnosno kristaloidi koji su izbalansirani, mnogo pogodniji za životinju i oporavak životinja od samog fiziološkog rastvora. Da, u Hartmanu, odnosno Ringer laktatu ima kalijuma, ali ga ima u značajno manjoj koncentraciji nego što je već u životinji i svakako ćete spustiti koncentraciju kalijuma i još dati dodatne elemente koje će da pomognu oporavak životinje. I napominju da šokna terapija nije više kao što je pre bilo 60 ml po kilogramu u toku sat vremena, nego se ide sa tim stepwise bolusima. Znači, u 10 minuta date 10 ml po kilogramu i procenjujete kakvo je stanje, odnosno da li treba nastavljati sa tim ili ne, zato što su mačke sklone overloadu i možemo da ih jako brzo i jako lako ubacimo u problem. Kažu, dekompresivna cistocenteza ima svoje razloge za i svoje razloge protiv. Zato je kontraverzna. Razlozi za su, znači, direktno pražnjenje bešike, smanjujemo pritisak, smanjujemo bolnost, olakšavamo retrohidropropulziju obstruktivnog materijala, znači ka nazad, i olakšavamo, što se smanjuje intraluminalni pritisak, olakšavamo ubacivanje katetera. I naravno dobijamo fantastičan uzorak za analizu urina ukoliko nam je potrebno, a razlozi protiv su rizik od jatrogene traume bešike, što je meni već dovoljan razlog protiv i da to uopšte ne radim, ali to je moj problem. I drugi razlog je što ne ubrzava proces stavljanja katetera, a kateter je svakako neophodan, obavezan. Znači, obavezno je omogućiti normalan put, odnosno izlaz urina iz bešike. Znači, ovo je ono samo kao prva pomoć u slučaju da ne znam, zbog čega god da se odlaže sama kateterizacija. Što se tiče kateterizacije, kažu, kolabirane životinje u redu je sedirati metadonom i midazolamom. Alternativna kombinacija butorfanol diazepam i ketamin diazepam. Znate, butorfanol ne može da obezbedi dovoljnu analgeziju da odradite to što treba, ali uglavnom mačke završavaju u opštoj anesteziji da biste mogli da uradite posao do kraja. S tim što, pre nego što ubacite mačku u opštu anesteziju, neophodno je sanirati, kažete, slobodno, interakcija je apsolutno uvek za. neophodno je sanirati bradikardiju, hipotenziju i hipovolemiju. Što se tiče daljeg menadžmenta hiperkalijemije, kaže kalcijum glukonat, svakako, zato što čak 70% mačaka u uretralnoj obstrukciji je u hipokalcemiji, a već smo rekli da hipokalcemija ozbiljno pogoršava hiperkalijemiju, odnosno bradikardiju. Sad samo ima naravno caka, kada dajete kalcijum glukonat morate da pazite na aritmije, znači na pojavu aritmije mora se daje jako lagano i da se životinja prati sve vreme. U slučaju da nemate EKG i da niste sigurni da li treba ići sa kalcijumom, kažu da je već dovoljna indikacija za terapiju kalcijumom puls ispod 160 kod mačaka. Analgezija, apsolutni prioritet, neophodna, beskrajno potrebna, jer kažu za početak već samom analgezijom možete da smanjite spazam uretre i da zapravo očepite životinju samom analgezijom. Koriste se naravno opioidi, metadon, concentrate infusion fentanila ili čak savetuju i flaster i buprenorfin. Kažu da NSAID nije dovoljno jak analgetik da bi nam pomogao u ovom slučaju, da može tek posle kad sredimo situaciju da počne da se upotrebljava. Sad, za hospitalizaciju imaju jako interesantnu priču, to znači ako hoćete mačku da držite u bolnici dok pratite oporavak od kateterizacije, a to je da mora da bude cat-friendly veterinar, znači da vam mačka bude odvojena od psa, da ima posip kakav god poželi, odnosno kakav je ona navikla, kakav voli, da ima hranu na koju je navikla i kakvu, mislim, baš je komplet, nisam sigurna da smo mi dotle još stigli, a kažem, oni to u ovom guidelinesu navode kao must have, znači obavezno, da se mačka osjeća kao kod kuće dok je hospitalizovana kod vas zbog obstrukcije. Naravno, umeđu vremenu pratiti, odnosno dati dobru, kvalitetnu analgeziju kako je ne bi bolelo, srediti anksioznost zbog toga što nije u kući, opet gabapentin i pregabalin. I jako važna stvar, znate mačke koliko im je važno da jedu, da unose hranu na usta, ići sa maropitantom da biste zaustavili bilo kakvu, odnosno da biste sprečili, regulisali mučninu koja eventualno može se javiti zbog uremije i mirtazapin kao stimulator apetita da bi što pre počela da jede. A pitanje, ako kateterizacija ne uspe, ostaje vam cistostoma, s tim što nisam baš sigurna koliko se kod nas radi cistostoma, uretrostoma viđala više puta, cistostoma onako, kažu ima veliki procenat komplikacija. Perinealna uretrostoma jeste rizike za urinarnu infekciju, ali ajte molim vas. I uglavnom savetuju postavljanje stoma u rekurentnim slučaju, znači kada se često vraćaju sa istim problemom, da se onda postavi stoma, ne ići odmah na to. Generalno, znači u samom trenutku kad ne možete da postavite kateter, sređujete problem cistocentezom i smišljate se šta ćete i kako ćete dalje. Možda date analgetike sa idejom da će možda da se otpuši sama. Jer kaže, analgeticima treba dati čak 3 dana fore do delu, što ja mislim da je mnogo pustiti mačku da ne piški 3 dana, tako da biste onda to morali regulisati cistocentezom. Antibiotici, pazite sada, profilaktički ih ne davati, znači ne davati mački sa kateterom antibiotike. Ne znam da li to možete da svarite, kao zamislite, pustite mačku sa kateterom i kao ništa, idi kući, sve je u redu, ali savetuju, mislim, dobro, jasno vam je da je sada to smanjenje antibiotika, upotrebe antibiotika jako popularno i jako bitno i sada to savetuju ne davanje antibiotika u masi slučajeva. Naravno, urin ne uzimati iz katetera ako sumnjate da već postoji urinarna infekcija, ne uzimati urin iz katetera, nego sad kateterisanoj mački, znači zavrnite kateter i radite cistocentezu da biste dobili odgovarajući uzorak. I kažu kateter ne ostavljati duže od 36 sati. Ja moram priznati da mi ostavljamo i duže, specijalno uremične mačke koje moramo da pratimo. Oni čak savetuju da je bolja varijanta vaditi i vraćati kateter, što je meni isto... Što, kao, ako? Naravno imamo i taj moment kod nas svakako. Pa sad, šta? Cat friendly, veterinarijan, ne razumem, šta ti to nije jasno? Naravno, komplikacije koje mogu da se jave, oštećenje bešike, oštećenje uretera, uretralne strukture koje se javljaju do 3 meseca po kateterizaciji, atonija detruzora, akutna bubrežna insuficijencija u koju može da upadne mačka koja je pod obstrukcijom, urinarne infekcije i postopstruktivna diureza. Zašto je zabavna postopstruktivna diureza? Naravno, stres hospitalizacije, dozvolite opet. Stres, panika. Postopstruktivna diureza, to se dešava, odnosno javlja se do 84 sata po kateterizaciji, to je kad imamo produkciju urina više od 2 ml po kilogramu na sat, bez obzira na nadoknadu tečnosti. Naravno, dovodi do dehidratacije i sad hipokaliemije, što isto može biti problem. I zato je jako važno ne ostaviti mačku kao kaj sad idite kući sve ok, znači sve to mora da prati vlasnik, da slučajno, mačka ne bi upala u još veći problem nego što je bila, odnosno trebalo bi da se mere ulaz i izlaz. I šta isto savjetuju? Oni savjetuju zapravo da se ne ostavi otvoren kateter, nego da se na kraju katetera stave kesice za prikupljanje urina i onda lepo pratite koliko je to urina produkovano, koliko je mačka vode popila, da li treba da se nadomesti ili ne. Guidelines, molim vas. Naravno, što se tiče otpusta po kateterizaciji, u redu je da otpustite životinju koja ima normalnu diurezu, da se da analgezija za kućne uslove, smanjiti stres, ne znam da li sam to rekla, stres je jako bitan kod mačaka. Sad, šta je zabavno? Prognoza, kaže 11 do 58 slučajeva dolazi vam opet, ali ono što je dramatičnije, to je da čak 21% slučajeva sa obstrukcijom uretera završi eutanazirano. Zašto je sad to bitno opet? Jer, kažem, zamislite sad kad predstavite vlasniku da 21% slučajeva mačaka koje su imali uretralnu obstrukciju završe eutanazirano, zato što ne možete više... Kažete? Zvuči dramatičnije, bravo. Znači, 1 od 5 mačaka završi... Tako je, slažem se, odlično. I zamislite sad, kažete to, znači 1 od 5 se eutanazira zbog ovog problema. Glavni razlog ovog problema je fic. Glavni razlog fica je anksioznost i stres kod mačke. Znači, morate da uzmete bar 3 kreveta, 4 WC-a, različite posipe, davati različite hrane. Idealna priča. Idealna priča za vlasnika, naplašite ih i onda više neće držati mačke uopšte, preće valjda na pse ili ne znam, papagaje. Nešto. Šta god. Ovi manje interesantni, manje zabavni slučajevi luca, slučajevi koji kad vam se pojave u ambulanti završe se tako što pišete neki case reportić o njima, jel? Vidite šta smo imali. Znači, te takozvane ostale bolesti. Zašto su važne? Zato što, kažu, nije svaki luc isti. Znači, ako vam ista mačka dođe posle nekog vremena, prvi put je bila zbog fica, kad vam dođe sledeći put, vi morate opet da odradite sve pretrage da biste zaključili da je fic. Znači, vrlo je verovatno da sledeći put dođe zbog nekog sasvim drugog problema. I naravno, može uvijek da se uplete i problemi gornjeg urinarnog trakta. Što se tiče neoplazija, kaže, najčešće se javljaju u bešici, uglavnom se pojavljuju opšti simptomi pored simptoma luca, mačke starije od 15 godina, terapija je sad parcijalna cistektomija, hemoterapija sa ili bez radijacije. Šta je zabavno? Studije sa nesteroidnim antiinflamatornim lekovima su pokazale produženje života mačaka koji imaju neoplazije bešike, a pritom kad kažu pokazale produženje života, srednje vreme preživljavanja je 5 do 12 meseci. Cheers. Naravno, trauma, sad spoljašnja ili unutrašnja, odnosno auto, šutanje, pad sa terase, sa stepenica ili trauma zbog kateterizacije. Šta je važno zapamtiti da to što palpirate bešiku ne znači da bešika nije preživela traumu i ne znači da nije u problemu. I uroabdomen ne mora svaki put biti vidljiv. Znači, kad uradite ultrazvuk ne mora da se desi da vidite uopšte da tu ima ičega. Ukoliko ima neke tečnosti, izvadite tu tečnost i jako je bitno da odnos kreatinina u uroabdomenu i u serumu bude 2:1. Kongenitalne, ne znam, ovo stvarno baš nikad nismo videli, ali u kongenitalne probleme, odnosno patologije koje mogu da izazovu luc, za početak, znači luc i inkontinencija javljaju se u baš ranom dobu, kongenitalno urođeno. To su sve agenezije, hipoplazije, bešike, ektopični ureteri, duplikacije uretera, znači sve što vam može pasti na pamet da može da pođe po zlu tokom razvoja mace, može. Druge bolesti, kaže malakoplakija, zvuči jako zabavno, zato što, pored toga što je retko hronično inflamatorno oboljenje, kažemo ako naletite, zovite nas odmah, obavezno pišemo neki case report, nama toga uvek treba. Plakovi ili mase u urogenitalnom traktu i bitni su zato što su diferencijalna dijagnoza neoplazija. Vide se velike okrugle ćelije sa granuliranom citoplazmom. Kažem, to je onako baš za neki naučni rad jako zgodno. I Escherichia coli može da se uplete u celu problematiku, tako da bi antibiotik zapravo mogao da reši problem. Sad, ovo mi je zabavno, kaže, urinarna inkontinencija jako retko se javlja kod mačaka, baš je retka situacija i ako se javi, uglavnom je razlog kičmena moždina ili uretra. I onda imaju ceo spisak kod kojih stanja može da se javi inkontinencija, koji je poprilično dugačak, tako da ne razumem im baš tvrdnju da se javlja retko, iako se javi da su ili neurogeno ili uretra, a kažem ovde imaju, na primjer, inkontinencija u vezi sa felvom mi je ultra zabavna, ili neki drugi retki razlozi. Završili smo sad, znači, ovaj prvi deo koji nam je koliko toliko poznat i sada zalazimo u deo koji se zove razmatranje faktora okruženja i ponašanja u lečenju bolesti donjeg urinarnog trakta. MEMO, znači Multimodal Environmental Modifications. Za početak vlasnici. Zašto su nam vlasnici problem? Kažu da je ključna uloga vlasnika u menadžmentu većine problema sa donjim urinarnim traktom. Vlasnici često su anksiozni i frustrirani, zato što, kao što rekao smo, FIC je najčešći. Dijagnoza FIC-a podrazumeva da isključite sve druge bolesti, puno košta i dugo traje. Čak 81%, odnosno ne 81%, kada su pitali veterinare, 81% odgovora je bilo da je nesaradljivost vlasnika dovela do neizlečenja FIC-a, a 62% je bilo odgovora da su pogrešno očekivanja vlasnika dovela do toga da se FIC ne sanira. Kažem opet, ako izvedete onu računicu svaka peta mačka, uretralna obstrukcija, FIC, vidite u kakvom smo problemu. I dolazimo do moje omiljene teme, a to je komunikacija sa vlasnicima kao beskrajno bitna stvar i dobro objašnjenje sa čim se borimo i kako se borimo. Što se tiče terapiranja, kažu ako imate previše lekova koje vlasnik treba da daje mački, a znate koliko su mačke baš super za davanje lekova, da odlučite šta vam je prioritetna terapija, znači šta mora da dobije, a ovo ostalo nema veze, vidjet ćemo. Naravno da vidite da li postoje formulacije, znači da nisu, ako neće tablete, da vidite da li ima tečnost ili kapsula, šta god, da pokušate da iznađete rešenje zajedno sa vlasnikom kako bi se terapija uopšte isprovela, da naravno se pokaže kako se uopšte mački aplikuje. Ono što je, meni, na primjer, Miloš Vučićević to kod nas radi sa egzotama. Kad god im daje terapiju, daje im papirić na kome piše šta daju, kad daju i kako daju i vlasnici su oduševljeni. To je super stvar. Mislim, stvarno kad malo bolje razmislite, mi im kažemo da to 2 puta dnevno, zdravo, doviđenja. Dok stignu kući, pitanje je da li su uopšte zapamtili. Znači, na papiriću napišete kako ide terapija, šta sve treba da radi, uputstvo za upotrebu i kažu da je to vrlo delotvorno i da povećava zadovoljstvo vlasnika veterinarom, što mislim da je ipak na kraju krajeva najvažnija stvar. Kaže, izbjegavati stavljanje lekova u glavne obroke mačaka, zato što su mačke šetajuća zla i mogu da provale da je tu sad nešto promenjen ukus, da je gorko, da im se ne sviđa i da onda zapravo neće da jedu. I onda ulazimo u dupli problem. I ono što je meni, pritom dešavalo mi se da zovem vlasnike, da ih pitam kako im je ljubimac, ne zato što to treba da se radi, nego me stvarno zanima kako je, zanima me da li sam ubola dijagnozu, da li radi terapija i onda se oni oduševe beskreno kako sam ja brižna i što ih zovem i kako sam im se uopšte javila. Znači, savetuju za dan, dva po odlasku od veterinara da se pozovu vlasnici, da se pitaju kako ide, kako to funkcioniše i da li možete nešto nekako da im pomognete. Što se tiče mačećeg okruženja, napominju značajnost tih visokih mesta za odmor. To ljuljaške, to činije, šta god, znači da bude visoko da mogu da se penju. I da budu, znači, pojedinačna mesta za odmor, da ne može mnogo mačaka se nagura tu, nego da može jedna mačka se skloni i da iskulira. Napominju da je značajnost tolika da čak mačke koje se teško kreću, treba da im se obezbede rampe do tog visokog mesta gde mogu da se da se popnu. Kažem, što se tiče posipa, to je cijela nauka oko posipa. Za početak, važan je broj i lokacija mačećih WC-a. Kažu, ako imate više, znači ako imate 3 mačke u kući, mora da ima 4 posipa, odnosno 4 činije sa posipom. Koliko mačaka, toliko posipa, plus 1 pride. Režim čišćenja, kažu, jednom do 2 puta dnevno da se čisti posip i na nedelju, odnosno na 2 nedelje se radi generalka. Znači, da se izbaci sav posip, da se opere ona činjenica i da se to vrati. Opet kažem, otvoreno ili zatvoreno, u zavisnosti od preferencija mace, da li više voli da to obavlja u zatvorenom prostoru ili na otvorenom. Znate da isto mačka povezuje bol i sa hranom, da ako jede hranu, da je nešto loše, da može da se desi da posle odbija tu hranu, zato što je ta negativna osjećanja povezala sa tom hranom, kažu da je isti princip i sa WC-om, sa posipom, bojom one plastike, znači može da se desi da posle nekog negativnog iskustva sa urinarnim traktom morate da menjate komplet WC. Još jedna interesantna stvar, maca ako ide napolje da obavlja posao, morate da joj obezbedite da to ipak može da uradi unutra. Jer šta ako je napolju hladno, pada kiša ili šta god i ona je ušla unutra, zato što neće više da ide napolje, a inače napolju obavlja nuždu, neće moći da obavi unutra i potencijalno može ući u problem. Što se tiče hrane i vode, to činije na sve strane gde god imate zgodno mesto, vi činiju posadite. Znate da je važno da stoje odvojeno od WC-a, glupo je da stoje pored, ne sviđa im se to, nisu oduševljene. Podsticaj da piju više upravo time što ćete imati na više različitih mesta vode i koliko mačaka, naravno, toliko činija i sveža voda, odnosno oni osveživači vode, one fontanice i to, ukoliko neće da pije da to žubori i da to onda njima deluje super, da bi pili više vode. Kaže, grebalice, pazite sada, morate da imate i horizontalne i vertikalne grebalice, ali neke mačice više vole horizontalno da grebu, druge više vertikalno. Kaže, dovoljan broj grebalica u kućama sa više maca, ako više maca živi u kući. Penjalice i igračke, neophodno. Kaže, puzzle hranilice, to kao ima neke logike, s obzirom da su mace, trebalo bi da love plen i onda da ga jedu, kada im ubacite, znate, one loptice u kojima ima hrana, onda se one kao igraju, love tu lopticu i tako jedu i tako možete da forsirate apetit kod mace. Onda ono što je meni bilo zabavno, na primjer, maca koja unutra nije srećna i morate da izvodite napolje, ali morate da izvodite na povodcu, ali morate lagano da naučite da ide na povodac, da ne bi bila pod stresom. Onda interakcija čoveka i mačke, znači smanjiti protektivna osjećanja, odnosno da mačka se ne doživljava kao da mora da se brani od nečega i da se osjeća sigurno u kući. Kaže, igranje ima anksiolitično dejstvo, pritom tvrde da ima anksiolitično dejstvo i na čoveka i na mačku, tako da savetujte igranje sa mačkama, opet igranje lova, da bi se zadovoljile te neke primarne potrebe. I kažu da je trening za macu dobar, što je meni nezamislivo, da je to dobar mentalni stimulus i da treba to podsticati. Grooming, ali samo ako se maci sviđa. Ako maca ne voli se češlja, nemojte slučajno da je češljate. Sad, interakcija mačka je isto jako zabavno. Imaju cijelu odvojenu brošuru za to kako da savetujete vlasnika. Mislim, možda bi stvarno valjalo pročitati, značilo bi vam. Savetuju vlasnika šta se dešava ako se mace međusobno ne vole i kako da spreče anksioznost koja nastaje zbog neprihvatanja u društvu. Za početak imaju ovakve, na primer, grafike, gde u kući šta da postavite da bi maca bila zadovoljna. I sad, kad smo sve ovo ispričali, zapravo dolazimo do naslova mog drugog predavanja, odnosno prvog predavanja, odnosno da li ishrana utiče na pojavu oboljenja donjih partija urinarnog trakta. Ako se vratimo na sve gore pomenute slajdove, možemo zaključiti da utiče, ali ne utiče ni ono jednostavna varijanta kao da utiče. Ako dajete više proteina, desit će se ovo, ili ako dajete više ovoga, desit će se ono. Ne, utiče u toj multimodalnoj varijanti. I ja sam završila, možda sam bila malo brža. Hvala vam na pažnji. Nadam se da ćete nešto bar iskoristiti od ovoga.
Ja ću vam u 15-20 minuta približiti nešto što ProFeed ima u svojoj ponudi. Upravo se tiče ovih problema o kojima je koleginica Anja pričala. Ako budete imali, mislim, neki imaju iskustva sa proizvodima, tako da Mislim da će vam biti jednostavno. Uglavnom je problem sa vlasnicima kako da daju suplementaciju. Znači, i biraju način da to bude ili u obliku pasti ili posebno je nezgodno davanje sirupa, recimo mački. Profid je uvezao liniju proizvoda koja je namenjena kao suplementacija kod određenih oboljenja, posebno vezanih za urinarni trakt, predstavit ću vam ovde, i to je Vet Nova. Sve u formi je funkcionalnih takozvanih poslastica, odnosno žvakalica, i kao takve mnogo lakše su za upotrebu, zato što su kao poluvlažne, lako se mogu, znači, aplikovati čak i ako životinja ne želi, zato što možete da ih zdrobite i na takav način date. Krenut ćemo od jednostavnih stvari, kao što je Dielix UT. Njegova namena je kada postoje česte urinarne infekcije kod pasa i kod mačaka. I ono što je bitno, daje se prema telesnoj težini, znači postoji u pakovanju od 30, UT5 i UT15, u zavisnosti od telesne težine. Kada je Anja govorila o oboljenjima donjih partija urinarnog trakta i kada smo govorili o mokraćnoj bešici, često ćete primetiti da u literaturi se stalno navodi da se daje N-acetil-D-glukozamin. Na tržištu postoje određeni suplementi, ali uglavnom vlasnici mačaka imaju problem da daju. N-acetil-D-glukozamin ima ulogu da obloži zid mokraćne bešike, bez obzira da li je on nastalo oštećenje usled infektivnog materijala ili usled postojanja određenih kristala, odnosno kalkulusa. Ono što je bitno, znači mačkama se u prvih 2 do 4 nedelje daje po 2 poslastice, dok kod pasa imate održavanje i uvek se daje jedna u zavisnosti od telesne težine. Druga stvar jeste Dielix lespedeza. Lespedeze su generalno namenjene kada postoji problem oboljenja bubrega. Postoju 2 varijante, kao lespedeza obična i lespedeza plus, koja je namenjena kada postoji promena u biohemiji. Znači, bez obzira da li se radi o akutnim problemima oboljenja bubrega ili o hroničnim oboljenjima bubrega, lespedeza rešava i jedan i drugi problem. Ovde govorimo o proizvodima čija je upotreba dugoročno sasvim bezbedna i nema ograničenja da li je to mesec, 2 ili 3, nego po potrebi, koliko je u zavisnosti od životinje do životinje, koliko je potrebno može da se koristi vremenski. Ono što je aktivna materija jeste lespedeza capitata i ako ukucate recimo naziv same biljke, vidjet ćete da postoji niz kliničkih studija koji pokazuju upravo dejstvo na same bubrege. Suština cele priče, da sad ne bih zalazila u ceo mehanizam, jeste da se pojačava perfuzija kroz same bubrege i na takav način, kao što dijaliza radi kod ljudi, ovde vam biljka lespedeza radi taj posao kod životinja. I kažem, ako pogledate, zaista postoji niz referenci, dodavali su različite biljke, ali za lespedezu je tačno potvrđen efekat na koji način radi, kako i koji je to vremenski okvir gde ona dovodi do poboljšanja protoka kroz same bubrege. I moram da naglasim, daje se na 12 sati i pakovanje je od 60 komada. Lespedeza plus, za razliku od obične lespedeze, sadrži još kalcijum karbonat. Uloga kalcijum karbonata jeste da veže ako postoji promena u biohemiji u smislu povećanja ili ureje ili fosfora. Na takav način se eliminiše višak takvih materija iz organizma i dovodi do poboljšanja. Moram da kažem za oba proizvoda, i za lespedezu plus, da su odlični klinički rezultati. Ono što sam izdvojila jeste da je kolega imao mačku koja je imala katastrofalne rezultate. Krenuli su sa tim u roku od 7 dana, svi parametri su se vratili u granice normale. Reč je o mlađoj mački, uzrok nije bio poznat, prosto da li je genetski ili je životinja nešto pojela, ali sumarno za 7 dana je imao visok efekat samog suplementa. Znam da na tržištu postoji niz određenih proizvoda kakav je i UT koji je namenjen kod problema kad su struviti u pitanju. Za oksalat imate jako malo ili čak da nema ništa na tržištu. Dielix Oksalat Plus namenjen je znači životinjama koji imaju probleme sa kamenčićima koji nisu struvitnog tipa, znači to su oksalatni, uratni i cistinski uroliti. Sastav je kao što vidite, jednostavan, neću ga ponavljati. Uvek vidite da postoji biljka koja ima ulogu ili da pojača, znači, ispiranje same mokraćne bešike ili generalno da potpomogne izbacivanje iz urinarnog trakta. Ovde je kalcijum citrat taj koji ima ulogu kad su u pitanju kamenčići nestruvitnog tipa. Bladder control je namenjen rešavanju problema inkontinencije. Moram da naglasim, mi imamo u prodaji Bladder Control Plus, koji znači ima malo kompleksniji sastav, ali suština je da je ovde glavni sastojak fitoestrogeni koji su poreklom iz soje i koji su poreklom iz crvene deteline. Moram da naglasim da su inače te dve biljke najčešće upotrebljavane u humanoj medicini kada se govori o rešavanju problema inkontinencije kod žena u srednjem dobu. I znači postoji istorijat čitav, sad je stigao i u veterinu, reaguje selektivno preko beta receptora, tako da na takav način reguliše problem inkontinencije. Moram da naglasim, jeste paralela propanolu koji se koristi, ali je suština dejstva drugačija i ovo je, da kažemo, proizvod koji je baziran isključivo i jedino na prirodnim materijama. Daje se ili jedna puna doza dnevno ili možete punu dozu da podelite u 2 davanja. Pored ovog što sam naglasila iz vet nove, postoji vetik urinary pasta, dosta vas je uzimalo, ima dobro iskustvo, namenjena je rešavanju problema kamenčića struvitnog tipa, ali reguliše i pH mokraće, sadrži D-L-metionin i sadrži brusnicu, znači D-L-metionin ima ulogu da blago zakiseli sam urin, a brusnica ima ulogu da veže bakterije, posebno Escherichia coli, na takav način fizički spreči njen kontakt sa ćelijama same mokraćne bešike, pojača diurezu i mehanički, faktički isprazni mokraćnu bešiku i spreči dalje dejstvo. Ovo je pakovanje i ono što je bitno, znači doziranje je vrlo jednostavno. Generalno su paste dosta lake kad su mačke u pitanju, zato što se stavlja samo na šapu, ona će to lizati, čista je životinja, kod paste već druga priča, mnogo lakše se radi aplikacija bilo kog leka. Sad, nevezano za celokupnu ovu priču, par nekih novih stvari koje je ProFeed u zadnjih 3 meseca ubacio u svoj portfolio. Jedna od njih je Body Teeth formula, znači formula namenjena održavanju zdravlja zuba. Mislim da kolege koje rade u ambulanti na dnevnom nivou imaju vađenje često kod mačaka, a i kod pasa zuba, upravo zato što nije redovna higijena. Ono što je bitno, Teeth formula je bazirana na algama koji, pored toga što imaju ulogu da održavaju zdravlje zuba, imaju vitamine, minerale, znači dodatno je još i hranljivog svojstva. Ono što je bitno, veliko je pakovanje, nekih 250 grama, tako da i kod velikih rasa sasvim je zadovoljavajuće i rezultati su svakako neizostavni. Ono što moram da kažem, ako se radi o tvrdokornim naslagama na zubima, ne možete rešiti samo Teeth formulom, potrebno je da se ipak očisti, ali iza toga je svakako upotreba opravdana i dugoročno će dati rezultate. Po meni ovo je definitivno jedan od najboljih probiotika, ne samo na našem tržištu, nego i šire. Uglavnom imate nazive simbiotik, pa onda kao dobar je. Simbiotik podrazumeva da u samom proizvodu imate i odnosno i pre i probiotike i zaista jedini pravi simbiotik na našem tržištu jeste Adiva biotik, u formi je kesica, vrlo kompleksnog sastava. Znači, postoji, u sastavu je fruktooligosaharidi, mananooligosaharidi, znači kao prebiotske kulture. Imate Saccharomyces cerevisiae, Enterococcus, Lactobacillus i imate grupu B vitamina, mikro i makroelemente. Jednostavan za primjenu, posipa se preko hrane i može se davati i psima i mačkama. Kad se govori o oboljenjima jetre, postoji stvarno širok range proizvoda. Ja ću samo naglasiti koja je razlika između Adive Hepagarda u odnosu na druge. Suština jeste da smo jedini na tržištu koji u svom sastavu, pored silimarina, imamo i artičoku. Artičoka ima svoj jedan određeni efekat na žučne kiseline, tako da dodatno imate potporu i u tom delu i s obzirom da je u formi poslastica, mnogo je lakše za upotrebu. I naravno, mislim, ovde je naznačeno za proizvod da je upotreba minimum 6 meseci. I generalno kad se radi o oboljenjima jetre i bubrega, uvek se negde naglašava za određene proizvode da je to od 3 do 6 meseci, jer toliko je zaista tim organima potrebno da se potpomogne njihov rad i funkcionalnost. Proglan je proizvod namenjen oboljenju problemima sa paraanalnim žlezdama. U pitanju su poslastice. Ono što je bitno, znači mi na tržištu imamo paralelu ovom proizvodu, ali je u sastavu drugačije zato što ovde postoji druga prebiotska kultura i mnogo više elemenata je koji imaju antiinflamatorni efekat. To je ovaj cvetni pupoljak, ehinacea, vitamin C i vitamin E. Doziranje je drugačije, znači negde kad pogledate ovde se dozira prema telesnoj težini, znači od 5 do 10 kg ide jedna i kada govorimo o gigantskim rasama, znači rasama preko 30 kg, maksimalno su 4 poslastice dnevno i ono što je bitno, prvih 5 dana kreće se sa po pola poslastice dnevno i kao što primetite reference postoje i ono što je još negde kolegama bitno, to sam imala upit od profesorke Natalije, jeste da imaju kliničku studiju i kod oboljenja kada se radi o dermatologiji. Znači, tako da ako vam bude trebalo, svakako vam možemo poslati. Ima nekih pitanja za proizvode? Ok, hvala vam na pažnju.